Welcome to Beyond the Box.
Our guests are insiders that are now out and on our side, dropping nuclear intel and breaking it down just for you.
And now it's time to introduce our hosts, Brenda Lankridge and Suzanne Haunt. Join us and subscribe for weekly shows. Beyond the Box begins now. Let's jump in.
Well, everybody. Hello. So, we're supposed to have a show that starts at 8 o'clock tonight. I haven't heard from Susie all day. I'm a little worried there. Steve, I don't know what he's doing. Andy, I know he's sleeping. And the only way Mike Vaughn is going to come on is if Susie gives him the link. The new girl, bless her heart, I'm going to work with her this week to try to get her on here. Sometimes it's a little hard if you don't have, you have to download a lot of stuff. So, hi, Sherry. So I don't know what we're going to do tonight. It's beyond me. I had planned on a show with Mike, but doesn't seem to be happening. I think, Denise, you asked me, why are you looking for co-hosts? For this reason. So I can banter back and forth with people. But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Let's try this. I am going to put the link in the thing here. And if you want to come on and have a spit spat with me and sit and talk, Norma says, wing it. Wing it. I'm going to wing it. So, yeah, anybody that wants to come on and have a talk, the link is in the message thing. So what do you guys think about what's going on right now with Elon Musk going through everything and finding all the money that has been taken and used for a whole bunch of other stuff? Some people don't like it, but honestly, I think that it's great because our money has been going to a lot of other places other than helping us. Instead of helping the people in South Carolina with their problems, they sent millions of dollars to Ukraine and other places to help them. Instead of FEMA helping South Carolina, they used all their money to fund the hotels that all the illegals have been put in. And they have spent millions of dollars on that. So I think, honestly, whether anybody agrees or disagrees with what happens, this country needs a good slapping upside the head. And I think between Trump, Elon, and Cash, I think they're fixing to get it. We have been downplayed for a long time. They have been trying to make us a third world country for a while. They poison our air. They poison our food. You know what? Oh, my goodness. Hello, Mark.
I'm in the dark over here.
You are.
You see that? Hey,
Yeah.
Brenda. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I've been a stranger to the internet, haven't I?
Yes, you have, Mark. You have. And you know, and our people love you, and I've been wanting to see what you've been up to, but you have been a stranger, so I thought maybe you've had a lot going on.
No, I've sort of taken a break a little bit to just take a sit back and look at what's going on. Um, you know, when you're out here in the public, and you're doing it on a daily basis, you're speaking to it without having necessarily all the information. So, like you do, sort of 2 days a week, right? Is that what
Yeah.
you generally do?
Yeah. And we really don't do politics unless I'm on here with you. Norma or Denise, please get rid of DDK. We don't really talk too much politics or anything unless you're on here. We might say a little bit of things here and there, but other than that, you know, that's
Yep.
about it.
What have been the main topics now about, um, you know, the abuse that's going on? Is that mainly what the topics you're talking about lately?
Yeah, just the older, like last night, our show was great last night. We had Casey Sunshine and Monica B on, and between those two, myself and Susie, we talked about a lot of the abuse that we had growing up, and surviving through it and trying to help other people with it. We haven't been doing very many super soldier programs because it some of that is too much for Susie and I. We got a little railroaded into dealing with some people that were actually pretty bad. So I decided to cut that, you know.
It's probably like a good time to talk about, like, the one of the reasons why I took a break is to, now that Trump has won, and that's what we wanted to happen. Now we've got to just watch how it operates going forward to make
Yes.
sure that it's coming from God.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when you're out here and we're thinking we won already, but the demons are all still in attack mode here.
Yes,
And
they are.
you know, when you're out here doing a show, they're going to come out and they're going to meet you where you're at.
Hmm. Yep.
And if you're not out here doing a show, then you're free to operate and you know, not be affected by them, because they all are out there. And, I think I've said this in your show before, but and I still have the group. It's called Down the Road Past the Tree. That's private on Telegram, but it used to have upwards of 52 people in it at one time, and it probably had a total of like 80 people who had cycled through it. And there's two people in it now. And it's because between all the nonsense of people infiltrating in, teams of people infiltrating in, pretending, because the key to getting into the group was you had to basically convince me that you were making a connection, not to me, but basically, to the Lord, making a connection, and hence connecting to me, right?
Right.
And they would actually be pretending that they would, I would guess, watch my pattern behavior and then feed into those specific things that they would know I'd respond to bring them into the fold. And there were actually three teams of husband and wife that came and did it. Like,
Wow.
besides everybody else, the most powerful people came in teams of two that were always husband and wife.
Well,
Um, so remember when we first met, you had just gotten finished getting attacked by somebody else. The
yep.
two of the two of you. Remember that?
Yes.
And you had moved away from, the spiritual movement that you were moving towards, and you would, your 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 eyes got opened up to what was going on, right? And then you came out here and you're in this environment. And I guess since I haven't been around a little bit and haven't been watching a ton of things, that, you're here getting attacked again because you're out here talking to people, you know?
I think that a lot of us, we understand that we're going to be under fire, period. No matter what we do or what we say. If you tell the truth, you're going to get attacked. Now, if we sit here and we act stupid like nothing is going on, and we just then we're safe. But I don't like that. The truth needs to come out. I mean, and the right people are starting to get it. And like I had said earlier, I am sorry, no matter who agrees or disagrees, America needs to be smacked upside the head because things are just, they were so messed up. And we've got people in there that are, so that we think that are trying to do right. And hopefully that's the way it stays. They've got a fight on their hands, you know? And
So
I think, huh?
oh, sorry about that. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to say I've got a book that really explains it all in a nutshell. And I'm going to walk in here to my office a second because I'm going to grab the book. So I think I know exactly where it is. And I do. And, so here's the thing. There's this Freemason agenda going on, right? But
Yeah.
but here's where people lose the attention to it, because what's really going on is the Freemason framework is the groundwork in order to produce the mindset that is going to lead to what they want, which is us gathering into different secret societies.
Yeah.
And the further we move up the ladder, the more societies we belong to, the more upheld we are, the more money we make, the more respected we are. This it's a training ground in order to, and so let me show you this book. Here it is. Okay. So
Huh.
I bought this book, and can you see that? Yeah. Can you read that?
Kind of.
So what it is, it's the Society of Colonial Wars in the state of New Jersey, and the year is 1933.
Oh,
And
wow.
in this book, what it actually is it's a society. It's one of the societies of, and it's in every state in the United States, where people who have to have a blood relation of somebody from the Independence War, if you have a soldier's blood within that, you can be in the society. And once you're in the society, they study and they recognize the history of their ancestors. And every year in each state, they do this yearbook. So let me show it. Oh, I don't want to mess the book up. Here, can you see that?
Yeah, the contents.
Yeah. So basically, if you go to any person in this book, and you'll see you have the Queen in there, Lady Carteret for New Jersey, Carteret, New Jersey. Here's the Salem tablet, New Jersey. There's all these things in here, but every person who is mentioned within the society and their families, they are they state every single membership they belong to. So what does that mean? These people are hiding within their like brotherly groups, right? But when they have something like this as a medal to wear within their society, you know how they look like to put those stars on their chests and everything,
Yeah.
the royalty. So
Yes.
all of these like regular people, regular, are get to say, hey, I am, of the elite bloodlines of the original people who fought for this country. And while, yeah, that's an amazing thing to do, what this book proves is that they were all amassing different societies that they were memberships of. And it was an elitist thing where they're joining these groups. So now, today, if everyone were to go to my Truth Social that's watching, it's the chosen one on Truth Social, you'll see somebody had posted up a negative thing on JD, not on JD Vance, on uh, what's his name from Florida, the governor,
Oh, DeSantis.
DeSantis. Well, we know that he's Yale, and we know that he's secret society member, right?
Right.
A- And then Trump was on TV today. He was at CPAC, right?
Yeah, I didn't
He,
get to see it, but yeah.
so at one point he mentioned, so I had posted up something about DeSantis and his Yale membership, Skull and Bones relationship, that these aren't things that we can overlook. And
Right.
then Trump was giving his speech, and he gave this great speech, and all of a sudden he looks out into the audience and he points out this guy who I didn't know who he was. So I immediately go and look him up. Well, he's a Cornell lawyer who, the first thing it says on his Wikipedia is he's a member of the secret society of the Cornell that nobody knows anything about. They
Oh,
keep it, everybody knows Skull and Bones, but they don't know the ones at all the other schools. But if you go online and you look it up, you'll see Cornell has, I think it's 6 different ones, and I posted it today. One of them being a female one, and the name of it is in German, and I'll tell you what it is right now.
oh, oh, he hit a button. Mark. Apparently, he's not going to tell us what it is right now. He'll be back. Anyways, I didn't know that there was, well, I mean, I guess there would be more secret societies. There he is.
Am I back? That was
Yeah,
so strange.
yeah,
So
you're back.
I went to go and get the name for you, and I didn't realize it was going to pull me out. But the name of it in German translates to, and now I got to go look for it. It translates to um, the Christ curse or something. Oh, the Christ hex.
Oh,
So it's spelled in German, the name of the secret society of, go look it up right now on, do you have access? Go look up on Wikipedia, say secret societies of Cornell University, and I'm sure it'll come up. And so, I mean, how much do they have to tell us in in order for us? How many times? How? do they have to tell us that they're members of these things, and the people are forth, all of them are putting forth symbology of Roman, Egyptian, symbolism with daggers and,
Yeah, it
you know,
says quill and daggers.
so quill and dagger is what this guy was a member of. And you read on that to the people a little bit. I'll be right back because I want to get you the name of the guy and the name of the female club. Hold on.
Okay. And the Quill and Daggers is a senior honor society at Cornell University, founded in 1883. And in 1929, the New York Times stated that elector into the Quill and Daggers and similar societies.
It's
Huh.
Der Hexen. It's Der Hexenkreis and Gordon. Oh, I got it.
Hmm.
And the guy he called out today was Gordon Chang, and he called him out in a really good way. He kept on praising him, and like he spent a good minute and a half on him, on Gordon Chang. So when I looked him up, the first thing that came up was Cornell and that he was a member of that Dagger Society. So I went and I looked up the Dagger Society, and I realized that, the other people who were members, that they said they probably didn't say the real big wigs, right? And then I also realized that Cornell had 5 or 6 other ones, including this Rex Christos, or Rex Christ, which, or Hex Christ, which, if you translate that, that's obviously the Christ Hex. So, what are women? And then you go look at the symbolism of the stuff that they're putting up. What would women in law school at Cornell have a secret society that has satanic symbolism in it and is a name with Christ with the word hex in it? I mean, this is crazy, folks.
I know it. And I'm looking at this symbol that they have, and it's like a sword through a
Yep.
head, through a head, and below it there is the quill going through where the mouth is. Basically, looks like an upside down cross with a head through it.
So, you know what this came through as for me when I first saw it?
But
Because it connects, believe it or not, to the Sicarii, which is in 66 AD. They were sacking the temple, and there was all mayhem, and the, what were they called? A certain group of people in Israel, the name of the word will come to me, because they came up with a word for, like, people who have it. It's off of this name anyway. They were going around to the Sudacees, and they were going to the rich people's homes, the people who were the politicians and businessmen, and in the middle of the night they were going in their homes and taking a curved dagger and slitting their throats. It was called the Sakari.
oh wow.
And so that's why the uprising was happening, and because there were all these same pressures that we have today, right? And this certain group of people, the somebody help us in the chat, look it up. But the like it almost means like you're going crazy. The word for the type of people that they were, because they named this word after them, because they were the ones fighting back from the, what was probably, the Romans and the pagan, Gnostics pushing down into them and taking them over, right? So,
So let me ask you.
yeah.
I know that when Trump does things, he does them for a reason. Do you think that he pointed that person out just to bring attention to him? That he knows who he is and what he's about?
So I'm playing a wait and see. I, what my background is along this
Right.
lines, and you know, I've been the person everybody calls the crazy Trump supporter around these parts. Do you know what I mean?
You know?
So it's really hard for me at this moment with them still keeping me in the dark. And it's not really about me, I'm saying, because it's the people that the names I've been putting out there. I don't even want to say them because I don't want to skewer your show. Everybody can go to my Truth Social and they'll see it in the last few posts probably. But you know, it's I'm personally in a place where I'm waiting and seeing the performance because everyone has to make a decision. Like I've been saying from the start, including Trump, including me, including you.
Right.
We've all got to decide to stop sinning, stop sinning, stop, which means stop lying to ourselves, to everyone, and you know we've got to come to Jesus, and that is my number one goal still, and it has to be that way. It's just once he's shown you, if you turn your back on that, then what are we left with? We're left with Trump, a guy who's 80 years old and is going to die in a few years, and you're hoping that he's not one of them. You know what I mean? Because quite
Right.
honestly, I mean, you look at everything. If you were anyone who wasn't a Trump person to begin with, what light would you be looking at all this right now in? Right? I mean,
Right.
he's literally just like we want him to, right? He's
Yeah.
running he's running through everybody,
Yeah.
right? But if you're like a leftist leaning American, you're thinking, "Oh, what did we do? What did we do?" Right? Because is it going to be over the top? And the reason why I say that is not because I don't want all that stuff to happen, right? Because I certainly want a lot of it. It's the way in which you implement it, and certain things I have problems with. But you know, it, what would Jesus do? What would
Well,
Jesus do?
yeah. And honestly, I think he's watching also. I think that you're correct. It is at the point where we all just have to sit, see what happens. I mean, everybody can post their opinions on what they think, and not everybody's going to like what Trump's doing, just like not everybody liked what Biden was doing. Now, I remember sitting there saying to myself, oh, wait a minute. Biden can't do that. That's not legal. It's like when Kamala was running, she couldn't run. She didn't primary. We don't do it like that in this country. But then I'm watching Trump, And he is going through everything so fast that nobody knows what to do. Their heads are spinning. The bad people are in a panic, and it causes them to do stupid things. Okay? We all know this. It's what they do. But everything that he's doing, he's going to try to do by rule of law. He's not going to illegally shove it out there. So that is on a good level, I'll say. But it's like I wake up every day and there's something else that's happening every day. I'm like, oh wow, what? You know?
And we can't get complacent in it. Like, I don't want to sit here and spear any of the good stuff that's going on. But bottom of the line is we were promised to have those Epstein records on day one, the very moment. Like, what's the wait anymore for my stuff with the Proud Boys or with that or with anything else? Why
Right.
why not let the dogs out? Make them face it head on.
I think that because they have it, I think that probably Monday they'll probably do it. So
I mean, I've seen it. You've seen it, right?
yeah.
So we've all seen it in the community, right? We all have seen it for many years already. We've all, there's many of us that have it. So it's like, you know, okay, so we know Donald Trump's name is in the black book and his address and his numbers, right? We know Ivanka's is there. We know Jared's is there. Okay. So each of these people there are going to need to respond to it, even them. You know what I mean? Why was your name on there? What dates were you there? And you can answer to it. You know what I mean? It shouldn't
Yeah,
be a big deal.
Norma asked where the JFK files are. I think that those are out. You just have to figure out where they're out at.
So
Um,
I I haven't gone to them, but I would say that if you go to the National Archives, I would have to say that they definitely posted them there now.
yeah,
If they're saying that they're out, that means they put them on the National Archives.
yeah.
So I would
So
do that.
they have, like Cash has already said, also 9/11's got to come. They've got to drop the files on 9/11. And when that happens, there's going to be a lot of people upset.
And by the way, DDK, Trump is not a convicted felon.
Yeah,
It's a
DDK is
lot
not
of
even supposed to
nonsense.
be in my chat.
Yeah, don't
Somebody
even
go ahead
bother.
and niche him.
You don't even need to bother him because it's like nonsense. We're dealing with the real issues here. We're going to support Trump when he's right and when he's wrong. For me anyway, I'm going to say when he's wrong. And like I said to you, nobody in the past, in my mind, has supported him more than me. I mean, I put my money and my life on the line, thinking that it was going to help, and instead, it sort of just made everything more difficult for 4 years.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I think we've all got to pay very close attention to the cues that are going out here, because at the very least, Trump is still surrounded by vipers. If you're him, don't you want to get those people like Jeff Sessions, who in your last presidency, he undermined everything? All of these people who were with him before, we really need to question if he's bringing them back into the fold, the rich people, right?
Yeah.
Anyone who's wealthy, all of these people, I don't care, even if it's cash, because of all the people, the only one I really have no question about whether he can really make a true impact is cash,
Yeah.
and the reason why is because he did it with the National Archives. He's the
Right.
guy who did that. If he didn't do that, much of my research would have never even happened, because I found those National Archives early on. And once you go in there and you read the letters of our forefathers to their wives, to their, you can read all of this stuff on the National Archives. You go on there and you search for Washington, and it'll bring up all of the letters that they have uploaded between him and various people
Right.
that they still have access to. So, when you see the letters going back and forth, you can get a real sense of what was in their heads at the time. It's an amazing thing that he did, and Trump is at the helm of making that happen. So think about it. I mean, the timing of it is unbelievable. They knew that was going to be useful, not to them, that it
Right.
was going to be useful to us, the researchers, the diggers out here, trying to help shed the light to the masses. That's why you come on every week, right?
Yep.
Sole
Yep.
goal. You're not making money at this, are you?
No. Well, I spend a lot of money, but I don't make it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
It's one of the reasons why, I took a break too, because if people aren't going to watch the shows I already produced, that I spent time researching things and I put up, and, if those things aren't even going to get replayed or put in as clips and stuff like that, then they're not ready to release it. They're not. So if the show is stagnated for you, I'd say it's because you touched on some things and you didn't cut some deals with some people, because everyone I've met in this whole thing, they're all getting approached to get paid to do their show.
A lot of them, yeah.
So why do they think that's happening? Do they think their show is better than your show or better than my show was? Do you? No.
I watch a
No.
lot of different shows, and they do just crazy stuff. And
It's very repetitive, quite honestly.
yes, and
It's
I watch what they put out sometimes, and it's like even I have to sit back and go, "Wait, what? Okay." I don't think that's true. So, I mean, it's
when you're doing
already
it every day, you got to
yes,
reach,
yeah,
right? You got to touch everything. Hopefully you take everything with a grain of salt and pretend until until it all filters through, until that 72 hours goes by at least. But
right,
you remember at the beginning of this, we were all very reactive. It was like something would happen and everyone would go berserk, and then 24 hours later it winds up that it was a bird, or what I'm saying.
right.
you know so
Susie just sent me a message. Do you have a link? I sent it to you almost an hour ago.
who's that, Susie?
Tell me she forgot. She was probably thinking that we start at 9. And I told everybody 8 o'clock tomorrow. 8 o'clock. I know I said it.
So I
Because
saw you on. I came on to take a look. I saw you alone, and the moment I came on, you said, you know, I didn't know what happened because I wasn't there for it. But you put up the link, and I said, "Oh, she must be struggling. Let me come."
Well, we were just, it's like I said, I was going to come on here and say, well, nobody showed up, so I don't know what to do. And Norma's like, wing it. I'm like, okay, we'll just wing it. So I said, I'll just put the link out here. Anybody wants to jump on and talk about some stuff, we can do politics, we can do whatever, just, so it was all right. And I want to, yeah, Rebecca, I know I said 8 o'clock. And I'm looking for a couple new co-hosts because Susie, like every other weekend, she goes to a horse show. So I want to have somebody to come on and do things with. Hi there, Susie. We're
Hey,
live, by the
Susie.
way.
No, hey, Susie, no horsing around right now, okay?
Oh, come on.
We're live. Did you forget I said 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
So I started the show and I didn't know what to do. I was like, so I guess we're just gonna, mess around. We're gonna just talk about whatever. I said, but I don't know what to do. Norma's like, just wing it, Brenda. I said, okay. So I put the link in the chat and Mark jumped on. I was like, oh, look at this stranger.
So,
Yeah.
so I come on to enlighten with my craziness.
Hey, we all share the same craziness.
Oh, thank God. I missed you, Mark. I haven't seen you in a while.
I've been saying I've been taking a break, just taking it all in and doing more watching than speaking.
Right.
Yeah. Just trying to get things figured out. And
maybe I after all this time, you want it to be a true win, and not jump the shark, as they say. You know what I mean? There's still a lot of things going on, and unfortunately, and Brenda, I was going to say this before, is like we're at a moment in this, in my mind, as Trump's decision about the way he goes for him and effectively for us, because we put that in his hands. If you look at Bible prophecy, like it's the perfect setup, right? So for what they say is going to happen now, that if things get like extremely good and like extremely good, we're going to have 3.5 years of it, and then boom is the other option as to what happens. Now, I don't mean to be a gloom and doom, right?
I don't even want to think about if that, I just hope that it continues to go in the right direction. Okay.
And I know why he's doing things the way he's doing it, why he's slamming here, slamming there, slamming here, because it does confuse them. They're like, they don't know what to attack him on first. So it's see, because the first time that man couldn't be president. He was dragged in and out of court so much. He spent more time in court than he did in the Oval Office. So that's not going to happen this time. And he's making sure of that. He is just boom, boom, boom. I seen a thing just before I came on. He called out the governor of Maine.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And said, are you going to comply with this? Nope. He said,
He'd shoot him out pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you know tonight he's having all the governors, or all the ones who accepted the invitation, at the White House for a dinner tonight, right now, I think. And and I actually said underneath his post, I said to him, can you tell Murphy not to come home? We don't want him. Phil Murphy.
I know. Right. Can you
hopefully
people?
He listens to me and sends him to the brig.
Right.
Because that's one of them. He he got on TV and he said that he keeps an illegal alien above his garage.
Oh,
He,
Jesus.
he gave her a place to live,
Oh, God.
and he's gonna and Trump is gonna take her out of his garage over his dead body.
Well, they can take her out
You might
while
be
he's
careful what he asks
while he's at
for,
the
you know.
dinner.
You never
So this is a good time to tell a story. You ready for this?
Yeah.
So, and I have the videos that are pretty much gone from the internet, I think now. But back in, it must have been it was back in 2020, in like September of 2020. Um, I led a group of men to his house to to do security for a protest. Well, we didn't think we were necessarily going for security, but that's basically what we wound up doing, because the Middletown police force was there blocking off his road so the protest didn't get to him. There were about, call it 150 protesters that we all walked from this park nearby. He lives in the most exclusive part of town, a place called Navesink, and he lives at the end of a peninsula, so it's a dead end road to get out on there. And they had blocked it off. They put the Middletown police force are protecting the governor from protesting on the block. So they're blocking it so all the protesters are on the main road called Navesink Road for the area. So what they did was they didn't immediately attack. All they did was, little by little, they crept up on us in cars. So they brought the cars around, and then as soon as they decided that it was time for us to go, they crept up in on us, put on the lights, the speakers really loud, bah, 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 and pushed everybody in. And then once they corralled everybody to that little spot right before the road, they get out of their car, they look at the biggest guy in our group, and they throw him down to the ground. And is this the guy's name is Hennaface from the Proud Boys. He will attest to this whole thing, because I called him up to get him out of jail. And he gets taken down. Everybody's videoing, yelling, why are you doing this, whatever. It causes a whole mayhem. I at that say, okay guys, it's time for us to go, because we're the ones who are going to get arrested. There's nothing to gain out of it here. Let's fight another day. And we left. But the Middletown police effectively worked as a deterrent against people protesting for the mask and the jab in our schools. We went to go protest that, and the governor wouldn't even allow us to do that, and used our own money of our own police force to stop us from doing it.
Wow.
And they have armed these police forces here in New Jersey. In New Jersey, every township has their own police force. Middletown is huge because they have about 70,000 people. But when I tell you, they put up a new building, they bought all new cars and trucks and like military stuff.
Wow.
You're talking a police force like that probably got $150 million injected into them since he's governor. So what is that for? What is that for? There's no crime in Middletown. There's very little crime, right?
Mark,
Yep.
our little town where I live, we have one policeman that only works 14 hours a week.
It'd be, believe it or not, it would be great. It would be great. But if that were the case here, everybody would be getting robbed. You'd have the people from Newark coming here and just taking our cars right out of our driveways because they do it already.
God.
Great place to live.
Yeah. Susie's like, you need to come up and run for police chief out here in this little town. There's not much here. And I said, that would be fine. But what do I do if I have to actually go to like a scene? Am I going to have somebody come and pick me up and drive me over there?
There you go.
What? Trust me, if I had both my legs, I'd have been all over that. I would have. And it would have been one of those things where, well, we can only pay you like 17 hours a week. Okay, fine, but I'm going to work 40. Get over it. That's the way it goes.
Hey, that's a good deal.
I'll take a pay cut. And then, so it's like, I don't know. I am glad that so far, keep our fingers crossed, we haven't had the crap that went on the first time. All the looting and rioting and burning down stuff and all that crap.
Right.
But however,
but the plane crashes are kind of weird.
Well, yeah, there's stuff about that too. I'm not gonna even say because right now there's just some weird stuff going on.
There is weird stuff going on.
Yeah, but it's like Casey told us last night. A lot of these super soldiers, that's their last defense. If all else fails, they're gonna activate those super soldiers. Then we're gonna have to deal with them. And it's like, well, the military better step up their game. Because they're going to be dealing with people that have been mentally cursed in that way. And they're not going to care. They're not in it to survive.
So what you're saying is that there are people out there with trigger words that they're gonna yes. activate them all simultaneously.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
I after 9/11, I don't know whether these things that I have are dreams or visions really, but like I have these things that I call either dreams or visions. I can't sort of explain it, but so there were, at the time of 9/11, there were people cheering on the tops. So I worked in Jersey City, but I wasn't at work that day. And I would go through the World Trade Center every day on the way because you would go onto the path. I'd go one stop into my building, directly into my building at 10 Exchange on the other side of the tunnel. And there were, in Jersey City, in that area, there were a lot of immigrants that lived there. Now it's very wealthy there, but then it was like the ghetto away from the water. You go more than a block away and it was just the ghetto. And they were there on the top of buildings filming what was going on.
Yep.
Now, listen, there were a lot of people filming what was going on, but this was people partying with what was going on.
Yeah.
Whether they were doing it because they knew what was going to happen or not, I can't say whether they were there, period. Those people were there.
I've seen some of those videos.
So, we know now that Building 7 did not fall on its own.
No, of course not. And it wasn't hit by a plane.
And it wasn't hit by a plane.
But what it did do was...
The plane!
It supposedly had held the paperwork on the court that was supposed to happen the next day over the money that disappeared out of the Pentagon.
Oh, wait a
Correct.
minute. Isn't that
Stop.
amazing? 3 buildings went down with 2 airplanes. That was magic.
And Donald Rumsfeld the day before announced the disappearance of the $2 trillion or whatever it was. And
Yeah.
the gold, where was that? Was that never recovered? We never heard about that. Oh, and Larry Silverstein also got a double payout on the insurance that he just picked up before the event.
They
And
should have called him Silver Spoon instead of Silverstein.
have you seen the video yet of Trump on Air Force One with media? And they asked where he was going, and they turned around and said, "Well, we're going to go to what was it? Fort Bragg?
Fort Broke?
Which one's
Fort Broke?
No, Fort Knox.
Fort Knox.
Fort Knox.
We're going to go to Fort Knox
Fort
and
Broke.
go see if the gold is still there." And everybody was like, "Well, where would it have gone?" And he just looked at him. Oh, well, let's see. I'm pretty sure we can name a few
Pockets?
countries.
Purses?
They
Bank
should
accounts?
They should bring Geraldo. That'd be hysterical.
Yeah, Geraldo's going to look for that gold. I can see that now. That would be hysterical. But he's a Trump hater. So I don't think that would go over very well.
And what's crazy is he was on the show.
Yeah.
He was like one of the big, like I watched that season. I think that he was on that show.
Yeah.
You know,
I do too.
I think that was one of the really good seasons of it, possibly, right? Because that was the one with that the black woman was on too, the really nasty Republican black woman. What's her name?
Oh, God. I don't remember.
You remember her though, right?
I
That's
know who
probably
you're
a good
talking
thing
about.
if you can erase her name from
can't
your brain.
remember her
Yeah.
name.
Everyone hated her,
Yeah.
but she did really well on the show because she was slick.
Oh my gosh. Well, all I know is that the pace that things are coming out, here's the biggest problem. I'm going to tell you. If mainstream media does not get their shit together, sorry that I said that, but it's the way it is, and start putting out the truth of what's happening,
They're not going to do that.
everybody up. We're not going to win. Well, their funding has been cut because Elon found out that the mainstream media has been making buku bucks off of, and they don't do journalism anymore. They show up for work and they get their facts out of their thing from the owners or the controllers or whoever.
Well, Ted Turner owns CNN, and he's pretty much, hates God. So, where's that going to take
still
you?
alive?
Yeah.
Actually, Sesame Street is doing the news in Iraq on our dime.
Yeah.
For the children.
Right.
Did you see that? Did you see that one? That we're
I've heard
funding
about it.
Sesame Street in Iraq.
No, I didn't see it. I heard this something like that.
They're doing the gay Sesame Street skits like for the Iraqis. These people aren't going to let their kids watch.
Oh my God!
Right?
You've got to be kidding.
Well, look who's here.
Hello. Hello, you conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, that's us.
And beyond that, it's reality. You are reality truth seekers, truthers. Hello.
That's
Hi, Mike.
conspiracy realist to you, Mike. Hey, Mike.
Mike knows all about this stuff. This is Mr. Whistleblower for Hollywood.
Yeah.
Oh, Hollywood.
Mike's our movie man. Huh, Mike? You're our movie man, huh?
I'll give you an
Sometimes.
update from the last time we talked to you when I was over there in Malibu, having some strange characters show up while we were talking to you. And I'm now one of the 50,000, 100,000 homeless people from after the Pacific Palisades fires and the Eaton fires, Malibu fires.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I have footage of just driving through it, trying to get out of town, if you will, of the Palisades, and after helping
Wow.
my friends, etc.
I'm going to say this again. I've been saying this since I was 16 years old.
Get out of
Everybody needs
California.
to get out of California. Something bad is going to happen, and eventually it's going to
A whole
fall
bunch
into
of
the ocean
bad.
and become part of Atlantis. Just get out.
Well, I got something that's actually correlated to this from this morning when I woke up. I I thought to myself mirror, right? Because they've been saying mirror. And instead of laying the maps over each other where you're looking at them, I said, I'm going to print out a map of North America and a map of Europe. And then I'm going to lay them over them facing one another, where New York is over London or over England because of York, right? And then
Oh,
what I did was I put a pin through it so I could see where it landed on the other map. And I did New York, and then I did the Four Corners, Utah, and then I did LA. And it's really close to being London, Hungary, meaning Budapest, and then Israel. So Jerusalem, Salem, being the new Jerusalem, the city of lost angels.
the Lost Angels, huh?
Hmm.
Wow.
I mean, is it real? Maybe.
That's crazy.
Because remember, we're being led by people who like do this on purpose.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
so is it really mirroring, or are they doing it purposefully? Like with a 2,000-year intention or more?
I would say it's planned because everything, the Freemasons do is architectural with a compass, and everything is like measured. Every city, everything that they build. So yeah, I'm gonna say
Well,
it was very planned out.
I had come up with a fun fact and did a little digging, and I found out, we were sitting there talking about history repeating itself. And in 1961, we had the Bel Air fires out there, which did damage like this. Okay, in 1961. And also in 1961, there was a plane that went down that had our skaters on it. There was the same amount of people on that flight. I think it was like 64 that perished in that plane, just like the one plane we had. And in 1961, Kennedy was made president. So I look at that and I'm like, wait a minute. How coincidental? No, there's no coincidence. So I think that they just keep messing around over and over and over. And I remember hearing Trump say one time that history is not going to repeat itself anymore. It's got to stop. And I'm thinking, yeah, because really, it's all done by design.
And
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 apparently,
if you think about it, right? If you go out in the timeline to where we're currently going, because I was just listening to this other podcast where the guy used to be an atheist and now suddenly he's a Christian. And, it if you go out the timeline, and let's say people from 1900 were dropped here today, and they saw everything we do with the phones, and they'd think we're like gods. They'd be like, who are these people? Or if we
Right.
dropped into their world, right? So if you go out in our timeline and you really get to an advanced place, did they figure out a way to timeline travel? And hence why you things appear like they happened in the past too coincidentally, but because they are making it come back from the future. You
Hey,
get
that sounds
you
like a
get
movie. Back
like the
from the
movie.
future.
I think that they do. I think they've had it for a long time. I think that they know how to time jump, mess with our timelines. I sat on here with Steve one night. We were talking about it, and according to the calendar that we originally had, the one with 28 days, 13 months in a year, and 28 days, that we're not in 2024. It's more like 2012 is what it actually is. So why have they sped up time? That's what I want to know. Have they bounced back and forth so much that they keep people stupid to where they don't think about this stuff, they don't see this stuff, they don't, you know, me. I'm going to tell you, I just turned 58 years old and I still have the drive like I'm 30. I have never seen, my doctor is floored with me because I do all my own legwork for him. I contact everybody and get things done and get back to him. All he has to do is sign papers. And he says, God, I wish the rest of my patients your age were like you. What is going on? Well, and I told him one day, I made a joke. I said, well, I came here from another timeline. And in that timeline, I'm only 30 years old. So you have to deal with it. He's like, unbelievable.
And healthy, so I'll see you later.
Well, yeah. And they checked my heart and he's like, God, you got the heart of a 20-year-old. You don't really even have any damage in your heart. You know? I'm like, yeah, my liver, pristine. And it floors him. So I sit there and I think to myself, where am I? Who am I really? And
All you
really,
gotta do is look at the Mandela effect, Brenda,
yeah,
and realize that there is time. They're messing with the time.
it's like every time somebody asks me, what's your birthday? And I'll tell them 010967, I think. That's what it says. Do I believe it? No, not at all.
1900, the last president. How's it
Yeah.
possible?
Yeah.
How's it possible? 2 books. The
I don't
Adventures of Baron Trump. How's it possible?
Yeah, I've got those books.
Can I go back to one of the comments that was made that Trump said the history's not going to repeat itself again?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
delusional. That's delusional talk.
Well, that's what he said.
I will go back to President John F. No, I'll go back to Eisenhower. January, I think it was 1961. I was a kid, or in the 50s, I was watching the black and white TV, and I said, Daddy, what's this man talking about? And who is he? He said, oh, it's too complicated, son. I said, no, just tell me what you can tell me, Daddy. So he did, and I listened to him, and I listened to Mr. Eisenhower, President Eisenhower, say, beware of the military-industrial complex.
Oh, yeah.
Then in about
interesting.
6 months, then in 6 months later, Mr. Kennedy was on that black and white TV. I didn't know who he was. Same thing, Daddy, who is this guy? Oh, that's our new president, John F. Kennedy. I said, oh, what's he talking about? Beware of the secret societies. Oh, it's too complicated, son. I said, no, Dad, you're a secret society member. He says, what are you talking about? He said, well, I said you're on your way to become a 33rd degree Shriner Mason with all that kind of stuff. I said, that's what those secret societies are, Daddy. He says, huh, who you been listening to? I said, well, I don't know. There's Mr. Kennedy talking about it, and you guys are in the thick of things. And
Nice.
so now we come to today, and there's nothing any different. It keeps repeating itself. Mr. Trump is definitely part of the secret societies. I think he's a 33rd. Mr. Elon Musk is a 33rd. Uh, Bobby, I don't know yet. Now, you do know that I was previously on the super PAC teams to put Trump in the office when he wanted to become the 45th. And then with this last round, um, I think, Susie, you are aware of this, that my super PAC affiliation was to put Bobby Kennedy in as president.
Yeah.
Um, Meantime, then I was also working on raising monies for Mel Gibson's project, his #2, Passion of the Christ, which is now the Resurrection. And the next thing I know, oh my goodness, my whole team is in the White House. Hallelujah. And the only one I really don't know is Moss or Elon, but they're all birds of a feather, repeating history, and it's yet to be played out as to who the good angels, or if you will, the healthy angels, or guiding the various political powers that are now in power. But we're waiting to see, and I'm waiting to see which one is advising us and taking us on the highway to hell, or who is taking us to the highway, the stairway to heaven. Um,
Mike,
and then
did you
we
hear us
again,
before?
Mel Gibson is part of that. And he very interesting. He lost his home here too, among all this chaos. Again, I've got about 10 different associates, friends, business people, including Mel's house, all burned to the ground. And I look at all this stuff as being an interesting Sodom and Gomorrah judgment that's come on the state of California, or at least the power sources of Pacific Palisades, if you will, Malibu and Eaton, and anywhere else going on. And then we've been rocking and rolling with low level earthquakes. Oh, they
Let me
love to
say,
make a big chaos.
let
But
me say
I do
something.
believe,
Let me say
huh?
something really. Let me say something really quick, Mike.
Say it
Bahama
again.
Mama,
Yeah.
I've never seen you in here before, but like, share, and subscribe. And no, not my father, my brother. Go ahead.
Well, so
Your brother
history is repeated.
from another mother.
Well, history is definitely repeating itself. That's been going on since the formation of the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve. Nothing's any different over the last thousands of years, except that human nature is no different. It has not improved. You've got your healthy ones, which are under the influence of Yeshua, if you will, Jesus, the Messiah's name, Hashem, the original origin creator of love. And then you got your other ones that are unhealthy, which are under the influence of Hasatan, or the god of this world. And nothing has changed except for the toys we have, uh, and the cars and things we have. We still have camels and donkeys in the form of Volkswagens and Ferraris, but the human nature is still the same, and so is the whole group that's in the office now. I can't tell who is of Lucifer and who really is of Hashem or
Well,
Yeshua.
Can
well,
can we break it down to like the basics of why we're in this problem? And it's because I mean, for me, if you just look at basic business environment. Like, and I'll do it really simply, is you want to do business with the people that you like, right? But the people that you like in this world, the way we're set up, are also the ones who are going to help feed you and give you more money, right? So now you make friends with the guy who helps get you another 10 customers this year, and in turn, you give him 10 customers, right? And you share that between you, and you don't give it to your buddy's competitor, you give it to him, or else that would make him weaker, right? And so now you take that over, you know, 10,000 years, and millions and millions of transactions per person, and over time, slowly and if you think about it like a mosaic, right, it'll start to form into like these colors that all group together and work against growing its space versus the other colors within the form, you know? And so just looking at it basically like that, how do we envision a world where we can actually even get over it? And it's because it's ruled by the greediest one of us determines how we're going to operate.
Well, it's really too early to make a lot of decisions because the man's only been in there a month, okay? And he's already trying to change things that have gone wrong with us for a very long time. We have to give him the opportunity to get his feet in there. His first term in office, like I said before, he didn't have a chance to be president. He was in and out of court so much. He spent more time in a courtroom than he did in the Oval Office. It was ridiculous.
But
So,
but how's he going to break that skull and bones member from his brother to look at the basic American, and his needs come at the same level as the guy who's making him 25 million extra dollars a year? You know what I mean? Is it realistic if we don't tear them all down, all of them?
yeah, they do. All of them. You're correct.
If you're a billionaire, how did you get to be a billionaire? You didn't do it without being one of them. Not one of them. I mean, and let's face it.
Absolutely agreed. I think it was Truman that said, all these politicians, you cannot become millionaire types unless they're dishonest based upon their public servant salaries. So that's number one. Uh, Moss only became a billionaire because he's part of the secret societies, Illuminati, New World Order, him and his mom and all his behavior. So we have a problem trying to figure out who's who, but every single one of them that's wealthy, uh, with maybe the exception of Mel Gibson, who I somewhat know because of my affiliation with raising funds for number one, Passion of the Christ, number two, the resurrection. Um, he's turned on Hollywood, and I'm pretty convinced he's the only one that's a good ambassador as his new political assignment, ambassador to Hollywood. I think he's about the only one that I sort of trust, but he has a reputation of also being very vicious on people he's turned on
So,
that he thought he was his
so
friend, et cetera, or business
Bahama
associate.
Mama is saying he invented PayPal, Tesla, and SpaceX, but that is not all entirely true.
Right.
That is not entirely true at all. None of those did he create. He is not the inventor of any single one of those three things. And I want to tell you guys a story about him too. Is that so? When I was on Wall Street, I invested in Tesla, and I was watching what was going on with it because I was using it in an arbitrage situation, and it was pegged to, I, I think the name of the company is Solvent or Solient. I I've I can't. It's on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, it was the second or third largest solar company in the world, and his brothers bought that and sunk it. And what do you think happened to those assets? Simultaneously, you have Musk getting a $7,000 credit for the sale. Anyone who buys a Tesla.
Oh, there goes Mark's phone. He'll be back.
Now we got him. He's gone.
Yeah, his phone probably went out.
Getting back to the concept of our real common enemy, which I greatly appreciate, Musk, Elon, he's going after and exposing the corruption of the Federal Reserve,
Yes.
the privately owned Federal Reserve, the privately owned Federal Reserve by the banksters who privately own the IRS, have nothing to do with the United States government. And interestingly enough, this auditing or getting in to see if there's any gold in Fort Knox, awesome, that should be televised, as he's suggesting. And Mr. Ron Paul has joined him. Now, Ron Paul knows exactly what I'm talking about. He's the most informed. Mr. John F. Kennedy, um, reading Congressman McFadden's report of 1933 to Congress, uh, loved by both Democrats and Republicans, he put a report in 1933 report to Congress about the Federal Reserve and how corrupt it would be and how it would destroy the United States financially with its weapons of mass destruction, of which Woodrow Wilson apologized for putting them into power on his deathbed. Mr. Congressman McFadden, I encourage you to pull up what he wrote to that letter to Congress, 1933. He worked for the Federal Reserve back in the roughly 1915, 1918. Of course, Jekyll Island and all these cabal of evil bankers, banksters, private group were given the power to take and control our money in 1913 after Jekyll Island meeting. Sinking of the Titanic, that was designed to destroy the real knowledgeable people about who the enemy is. Of course, all the cabal, Zionist, fake rogue Jews called Rothschilds, J.P. Morgan, etc.
Yep.
They survived. Kennedy then finally, this is President John F. Kennedy, finally reads McFadden's report. And then all of a sudden, instead of he was de-escalating the Vietnam War, which us Vietnam type of people or our military people hated him, called him a communist. Aha! But then that beware of the military-industrial complex rings in our ears from Mr. President Eisenhower. Then Mr. Kennedy was on the verge of exposing them with his secret society speech in roughly June. Then, in June of 1963, he issues an executive order, 4 ones, 11110. Executive Order 4110, June of 1963. Now, that is kind of a controversial, complex, convoluted discussion, but effectively, what I and others feel that was the kickoff to take back control of our United States currency and put it under the United States government, not some private leeches, vampires, Rothschilds, Khazarian, fake New World Order Jews who were tied to the Vatican, the Jesuit order, the pink pope, the black pope, the gray pope, the white pope, and then jumping over to the kings and queens, all three of them, the Holy Trinity of Lucifer under the Holy Roman Empire government. So Those people took over and had Kennedy assassinated after he had be able to talk Congress into going back to the gold or silver standard. So I think they allocated $480 billion. I think it was in silver, or sometimes I get it mixed up with gold, but I think it was $480 billion in silver when
Yep.
silver was I don't know, $3, $5, $7 an ounce. Gold was 35 an ounce then. And that would be billions or trillions of dollars in today's value if adjusted for inflation, devaluation of the currency of the United States, fake fiat money called Federal Reserve notes. And they, in turn, took that money or those gold and silver to back up the new currency. Do you know what the new currency was in June of 1963? What was it called? What did it look like? Do you know?
I remember that it was, I think it was like what they considered like a Kennedy dollar. It was a $5 bill, I think that I seen, and it was different. It wasn't like what we have now. It had different colors in it, but I don't know a whole lot about that money.
Susie, do you know?
What was it? A Lincoln. Okay, yeah, Lincoln. Okay.
Okay, why don't you guys look it up? Google and look up on what it looks like. The name United States Notes. United States Notes also used red ink for the serial number and red ink for the seal. United States Notes started in June of 1963.
1963?
Yeah, and they were backed up by true value, real silver and or gold to the tune of 480 million, which is billions, trillions today. And you're right about it was $2 bills and $5 bills were the only ones they had printed. Mr. Kennedy was in Dallas and he was about to start telling the American people what I'm telling you, why these new $2 and $5 bills were being printed called United States notes. And they were designed to force Congress to balance the budget because you cannot also put an end to endless wars. You cannot go on endless wars if you don't have real hard-backed asset currency. But you can go on to endless wars by printing money out of thin air called fiat money, which is exactly what was going on. And so when Kennedy vowed along the way to shatter the CIA and scatter it to the wind to 1,000 pieces after George Bush Sr. fucked up and screwed up the Bay of Pigs affair that Kennedy was directing. That's when the war started. Mr. George Bush, how did he go from a low-level dumpkin bumpkin idiot? I think he was low IQ, but anyway, he claims he's high IQ. But he was a low-level CIA agent. And then all of a sudden, after Kennedy vows to destroy the CIA and scatter it in 1,000 pieces, guess what happens? Mr. George Bush Sr. gets promoted, and then he gets assigned to oversee the assassination of Kennedy by hiring the mafia and other people and using the CIA. How do you think this low-level guy went to the directorship of CIA and then becomes a president? That's his reward. And then on Mr. Bush's inaugural speech, even Trump said, "What the hell is he talking about? 1,000 points of light." Listen to Mr. Bush's 1,000 points of light. This is basically mocking President Kennedy assassination that he oversaw, along with Johnson.
Yeah.
So our wicked enemy to this day, Democrats and Republicans, is this unconstitutional, privately owned bankster system, mafia, also unconstitutionally taxing your your income, your personal income, taxing your personal income is an unconstitutional. 9 states in the nation, their superior Supreme Courts, have all ruled it's unconstitutional. Why would they rule that? And of course, do you know who those 9 states are, Susie, or otherwise?
No,
Huh?
I don't know the 9 states. No.
Now I'm
Okay.
going to show you
Well,
what
let's
the
just start
only
with.
thing that has come up on this are these. And there's the fronts.
Do they say United States note? I can't see them.
Yes. Well, they say the United States of America. So when I put
Does
in
it say
United
at the
States
very?
note,
It doesn't say at the very top United States notes.
let me look. $2 bill. What does that say?
All other currency says Federal
Yes.
Reserve.
Yes, it says United States notes.
Okay, that's the $2 bills, and the other one he printed were the $5 bills. That's starting in June of 1963. And when Kennedy had his head blown up, kaboom! That was pretty much the end of anybody talking about those notes, and they began to
Yes.
disappear, or they stopped printing them until they basically have been totally removed from all circulation, except for those that are still slipping through the system. People kind of spend them, or two, you'll only find them in a coin shop, money collector stuff.
I have
Right.
a bunch of them. I have a bunch
Yeah,
of $2
well,
bills.
I don't know that they have a lot of value from a point of view of currency collection, because very few people know what I'm telling you. I won't say no one, but very few people understand or know the historical value of that. And we need to go back to those United States notes. And we really need to back up our currency by hardcore assets, whether it
Yeah.
be oil, gas, gold, silver, those new exciting
I
stuff.
think that I heard. I think that I heard Trump say oil and gold. Those two
Well,
things.
anything that's tangible, it's usable. Rare
Mhm.
earth metals. Gold is really kind of a ridiculous thing to have because primarily it's used in jewelry. It has very little commercial use except for high technology, electrical transmission. That can be replaced by graphene, graphite, and other stuff that's up and coming. Quantum batteries, quantum transmission is going to replace digital. I'm with a team of physicists and people working on the quantum network, quantum computers, quantum satellites, far beyond anything that Elon Musk has put up in space. So we're in a revolution of changing from the digital world to a quantum approach with, they call it spooky particles, that the astro or the physicists don't even quite understand how this stuff works. So they call it the spooky particles. I prefer to call them the God particles. They're very, very unique. They can be occupying those multiple places at the same time. Just exactly the kind of would mirror what happens with Yeshua or God. The devil cannot occupy multiple places at the same time. So, what am I rambling on about? Getting back down to the practical issues that are going now is that the group has to, and of course, Ron Paul's joined them too. And I think Ron Paul is one of the few who knows as much or more than I do, and is really understands the critical element of returning back to the asset-based currency, and that will in turn destroy the uh, central banks, fake, rogue, Khazarian, Rothschilds, Jews who are not really Jews, or they're really not from the 12 tribes of Israel under Abraham. These are the fake Zionists, and very same president that's in charge of Israel. May God just blow that whole group of people off the face of the earth, because they are not the Israelites of the Old Testament that we're supposed to be supporting.
Right.
It's a mess down there, Hopefully Trump will
Yeah, right.
straighten it out,
My dog just fell down his stairs, Susie. What the?
Oh my goodness.
What are you doing?
Being clumsy.
Crazy. He's running around trying to get the cat away from the bed, away from underneath the bed. He just picks on that cat so much he hates her. But no, you are correct. And they do. They all just need to fall off the face of the earth somewhere. And so we're all just sitting back and we're waiting to see what's going to happen. Right now at this point, look, it was bad before. If it's bad now, we're used to it. So all we can do is hope that it all gets better. Keep our fingers crossed. Something amazing happens. Jesus steps in and says enough is enough. It's got to.
Hey, speaking of bad, Mike, what's going on down there in your neck of the woods?
Yeah. What is happening?
With the fires and all that. Yeah. What's an update for us?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
We were speaking of something, bad. So I was wondering about your neck of the woods where you're at and an update on. I mean, all we heard on the news was the fires wiped out all the houses. Now we haven't been hearing anything. So what is going on down there?
Complex, convoluted, perplexing. It's a long discussion. The good news is the opportunity for quality, honest construction people to make money rebuilding the $50 to $150 billion worth of damage done there.
They
that's
got to
the good
get away
news.
from that BlackRock property.
I'm sorry, say that again?
BlackRock has got to. They've got to get them out of that property because they own the property. That Palisades.
Well, now we get into what caused the fires. Is that what you're asking?
We can only imagine, but sure, do you know?
Well, first of all, those winds were real, and they were really some of the strongest winds I've seen and encountered for years in Southern California.
I grew up in Santa Ana, and I ain't never seen winds like that before. And I left there when I was 19 or 20. So.
Well, back in the 50s and 60s, we experienced those kind of winds in different places where I resided in Southern California. So that's not unusual. But however, recently it's unusual, that kind of strength. So now the question becomes, is that just a natural phenomena that takes place every year with the Santa Ana winds start up and fly to the ocean? Back in a few years back, I think it was 2015, 16, we had the Woolsey fire. Do you know anything remember the Woolsey fire in Malibu?
I do not.
Well, same kind of wind conditions, and it just burned up a whole bunch of stuff in Malibu primarily. Primarily west of Malibu City, or where Dick Van Dyke lives. So that Woolsey fire was more west, and west of what's the name of that university? Pepperdine. So that did a whole bunch of stuff. That was very fascinating. And then this last two fires, basically the Malibu fire took place from more the Malibu community area by Pepperdine. And then it went over by Dick Van Dyke's house, and that character wouldn't even get out of his house. They had to carry him out. So And he had to be carried out on a second fire that came, which starts with the Pacific Palisades. Now, I'll just stop there for a minute. Jumping over to the Eaton fire, which is more over by Pasadena or whatever that is area. They have pictures. People witnessed sparks coming off of an electrical Edison high power. You know, the big towers.
Yeah.
And those sparks hit the bottom
The
around the
electricity,
towers.
you talk about wires, electrical wires were doing that?
I'll get
The
to that in a
electric?
minute. The question is, what was causing the sparking and the hot metal dropping down below it, which appears to, according to eyewitnesses as well as cameras, it appears to be that it started the brush fire around one of these towers. Now, there are three things that are going on. There is this theory of direct energy weapons being used to start these fires. In Maui, or wherever that was, no, what was that? Where was it on the island that
But you
started
know
all
what,
that fire?
Mike? It's what's weird about it though. You do
Maui.
have these conditions of dry. You have dry, and then you have conditions of high winds, which is a bad combination if you have a fire. But you have all these different places that are on fire at the same time. That to me is not a coincidence. So
No, and it's going on, and it's going on all over the world. But this is a very complex, convoluted, perplexing, controversial discussion. There is no one
yeah,
answer. But let me try to give you this. Just let me belabor this one observed tower sparking and the fire starting around it. Now, I have friends, and I have personally seen evidence of direct energy weapons in the Paradise fire. Are you familiar with Paradise, California?
Yep.
yeah.
That's up by Orville Dam. And I think it ultimately not only wiped out completely the whole town of Paradise, but it went on. I think there were 16,000 homes burned down in that area that you're talking about. Now, based upon what I've seen and others have documented, and I have pictures, I'd be glad to send it to you, or maybe if I haven't already, is that wherever there are metal nails, bolts, barbed wire, any place where there's wire or some sort of metal in contact with wood, there's no question that fire started from that spot on those pieces. And there's only three things that I know of, and I'm a little ignorant of this. I'm not know anything. But there are three things that could do this superheating, if you will, of the metal in order to cause the wood to catch fire. One could be an electrical power line or something laying on it, or some sort of a generated electrical current going down the wire or into the metal, and then that would superheat the area and it would catch fire. That's one. A second one is a lightning bolt strike, lightning coming down, hitting the wire or the metal post or bolts, and that could do that. That could set the wood on fire through the superheated metal. And last but not least is it's very highly probable they're using direct energy weapons. Apparently, these are laser in design that come from either satellites and or airplane and or like 5G towers or something. Now I'm really reaching out there, but something is creating these intense microwave electromagnetic radiations, superheats the metal. The metal then catches the wood on fire, and you ought to see one of the bridges that had nothing but steel beams supporting a rural road up Northern California.
Yep.
That there was really no fire under the bridge, There was no wood in the bridge, but on the top of these metal plates was asphalt. It shows that the metal being warped in a bizarre way and the asphalt caught fire. That can only come from a Jew, in my judgmental, ignorant point of view.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. And I
So
don't
what we
doubt
have
it.
here, the ideal conditions in California and other places, they have controlled and manipulated the weather through HARP and through chemtrails, which are basically dumping all kinds of metals. And one of those metals that they spray, nanotechnology, is aluminum. Aluminum is poisoning the plants and trees, weakening them. Our forests have become infested with bark beetles. The and the nanotechnology aluminum is being sucked up through the xylem and phloem of the plants and trees. And well, have you ever seen aluminum burn? That's on your sparklers.
Yep.
Well, the trees are becoming sparklers. Besides the fact that they're burning from the inside out, which is another bizarre topic.
Right.
So, as you noted, have you seen all the fires burning in South America through the Amazon, all over the place, all over the world? Are been incredible numbers of fires they don't report or talk about.
Susie.
Now, where does this all go? This goes back to my blue blood family. These are the ones that. You telling me to be quiet?
No, Susie, I'll be right back. I have something I got to
Okay.
deal with.
Mike, you know what? I wanted to bring up something. Back in 2011, where I was living in Bastrop, Texas, we had the most devastating fire that took out our town, and it made the history books of Texas because it was the most destructive fire ever in history. Okay, and that was in 2011. Now, what's weird is there was this prophet named Chuck Pierce who came to Austin and prophesied in May of that year that God was going to melt some things in Bastrop and there was going to be a drop. Okay, he was going to heat up some things and he was going to melt some things. So there was a prophecy about it. So by September of 2011, on that day that the fire started, there were high winds. We'd been in a drought all summer. Okay, and there were 3 fires that started all at the same time, like at noon. And one of them was an electric wire that was on a 5-acre property, and they were out working on it. And the wire fell, caught the grass on fire, and the wind caught it, and they could not get it under control. Another one was a cigarette that somebody threw out their window in front of a church, and then there was a third fire. So all 3 fires blew and converged into each other, and it burned up 1,700 homes in Bastrop. All these subdivisions. It was jumping the Colorado River and burning homes, and it took them quite a while to control this fire. But what was so bizarre about it was the fact to me that it was already prophesied, but that also not just the fires in Bastrop, but there were about 15 other fires that day, like in Magnolia, Texas, and other cities, and they all started like at noon, every one of them, and they were all different random things that brought on these fires. So that's why I say I don't see it as a coincidence. Who in the universe is orchestrating all these things? I don't know, but I think it's a spiritual issue that is like beyond our understanding. But there's definitely something going on, especially the fact that this prophet knew about it in May, and then in September it happened. And that day too, the day before it happened, I was in my backyard. He just said that God was going to heat up some things and melt some things in Bastrop. Nobody knew that like I hadn't even heard about that. Like I didn't even, nobody knew it was going to be like a fire. We didn't know. So the day that it happened, I was in my backyard and I looked at my cell phone and I told my son, I said, disaster's coming and it's coming now. And it's like I saw the date and I knew something was coming. I didn't know what it was that day. And I kept looking around. I thought there was going to be like a plane crash. I just knew in my spirit, that, something was coming and it was going to be bad, really bad. And so I told Joel. So I kept looking and nothing happened. So I went to bed. And when I woke up the next morning, I looked toward town. I seen all the black smoke. And then they were like wanting us to evacuate and everything. But I was in a good spot because the wind was blowing south. The day before, the winds were blowing north, and they turned around and blew south. So they blew the fires away from us, and then they burned up everything. But I had a knowing that the fire was coming or something was happening the next, like right then at that time. So that's what I'm saying. There's no coincidence to these fires, like, and like you said, there's a wire on the ground. There's this happening and this happening. There's something bigger than all of us that's behind all this. Is what I'm getting at.
Well, I do understand. Again, I wish to stress this is a complex, convoluted, perplexing, multiple points of interest are happening. And one of those is spiritual. Also, our blue blood family, I'm in favor of this, although you're going to find it just absolutely disgusting, because I'm in favor of bringing the Earth's population down to 500 million people, as was put up on the Georgia gravestones. Are you familiar with that?
The Georgia Guidestones were evil. There's a lot of bad in those Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, I'm going to say, okay, based on what you just said, if they're going to bring the population down, let them get rid of the evil satanic,
Yeah.
And
I bet there's a whole bunch of
let
those.
there be a new heavens and a new earth.
Now, I'm a blue blood. I'm part of this group. Oh, but I'm not. I'm a traitor, so that's why I have to be fearful or concerned about what I do and my identity.
Let's just move them to another planet, Mike. Let's just, send them off to like Mars or something, or like we'll just, you know what I mean?
Exactly. But I like the idea of having only 500 million people, intelligent ones. For human slaves or servants, Chinese would make good ones because they're so obedient. And then any kind of human assistance or need, the robots that I'm involved in seeing created, they're soon going to replace all humans. And the only few humans we need is for certain low-level functions. And all the high-level functions are going to be your super bright people like Nikola Tesla or Einstein, if you will. And then we're going to return this planet back to the Garden of Eden. I like that idea. But that's not of Hashem, and I think maybe Hashem may reduce us down to that when the Armageddon, or whenever, most of the world is destroyed in this, his coming back of flaming mountains, asteroids, atomic bombs that are about ready to be unleashed on us between now and the next 200-300 years, to that total description.
One thing I can throw out at that, Mike, is prophecy can fail. Prophecy can fail, flat out fail. So, it ain't over until it's over, is my opinion. Okay.
Oh, and I like what you just said. Now, see, Einstein was totally about Hashem, or if you will, the original origin creator. He did not fully understand, from mathematics point of view, he just simply felt that everything was designed, nothing is by chance, and everything is unfolding exactly as designed. But I think, after talking to one of his students who he mentored, that Einstein did not hold the concept of prayer changing things. Um, you and I are under the belief that spoken word of prayers can actually change things and even
Yep.
change what revelation or the other stuff
Yep.
is. So
Yep.
I'm on the same page or concept that spoken words of prayers can change things because everything is a vibrational frequency, as Nikola Tesla said, and that is how prayer works because God said he spoke it into existence.
I totally 100% agree that prophecy can fail. God can change anything, and everything is an open book, open, a clear page. There's nothing set in stone as far as, because, you know, I'm just saying that if you get locked into being controlled and told what everything is and you go along with it, then it's like you're in agreement with it. And I am definitely not in agreement with it.
And
Okay. I'm
here
not in agreement.
and here's another thing. Okay.
And by the way, I'm not in agreement with it either. Um, Although I think that Yeshua or God, Hashem, the whole original origin creator, of course, don't forget, he says, I make man, let's make man in our image. Who in the heck is our? But anyway, getting back
Well,
to the concept.
because Mike, yeah, I could get into this really deep with you on this whole thing because Old Testament is very confusing. There's very, very, very many gods, and there's very many types of people on this earth. Okay. And so with that in mind, if the word God is in front of it, it's probably not the Most High.
Look,
Which God
Okay.
is it? The God of this
look,
world
look,
or the
look.
original origin
Let,
creator?
let me
No,
tell you.
it's
Hang on.
yeah.
I'll stomp this.
What
First
do
of
you want?
all, what you
What do you want
say
to say?
about vibration is absolutely correct. But when you speak your words of vibration and it's all negative, it stays that way and it can turn that way. That's why everybody needs to have that peace and love and forgiveness and pray the good prayer. That way things will go on its right track. The negativity is what keeps us down. The lower vibration is what keeps us down. And that is what needs to change. Everybody needs to all fall into its place. And we are the ones, the Father gives us the strength to be able to make our own decisions in life. Everybody has a decision. But when you decide that you're going to go to that dark side, and there's a lot of people that are there, and that's what we're fighting right now. The difference in vibration,
Hallelujah. It's
you know,
time to choose the red pill, the blue pill. Our
there you go.
choices. Where are we going to take the highway to heaven or the highway to hell or the stairway to
Yeah.
heaven or highway to hell? So it's up to us, if you will. God has already knocked on our door. Every one of us here are the chosen ones, but not all of us are his children. All of us are his creation. And now we must choose to be or not to be. That is the question that Shakespeare put out. So, yes, by our free will, we'll determine where we're going, what's happening. And by the way, isn't it supposed to be when, according to Armageddon, like 2/3 of the world's population and everything's wiped out? Well, that just about leaves 500 billion people.
And that's
But
another
anyway,
prophecy. That prophecy can fail, Mike,
That
is what I'm
that is
saying.
what
There,
that is what they
yeah.
call by design.
but I want
Okay.
to get back
Remember,
to your. I
this
want to
is
get
all
back to you.
man's. They
I
say,
want to get
okay,
back.
that
Hang
there's
on.
an
I
argument,
want to get
a
back
big
to
argument.
you. What you said, Susie, is that prayer changes things, so we can
It
speak
does.
that. So I'm in agreement. I want to make sure everybody hears that before we run out of time here.
That's true. Prayer. And here's the thing. So you have all your religious people who, they they got all this information and they said, this is what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Okay. So what I'm saying is we're part of that people too. Okay. So we get to make decisions also. So we get to have that relationship with God. So we get to say no or yes, I want to be in agreement with that, or I don't want to be in agreement with that. Okay. So it doesn't matter how much they go out there. Like they could come up to me and they could say, this is a prophecy that this is going to happen. And I could say, no, it's not. Okay. And I don't have to go along with it if I see that it's unhealthy or bad or harmful, then I don't have to be in agreement with that. I can choose the higher road, and all of us can do that. But this is why I think that Jesus said that the kingdom of God is within us, and we are the temple of the Holy Spirit. Okay. And so that one day you won't need books and you won't need all this stuff, because everything will be written in your heart, what to do and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm saying is I think that the church has held us down and slowed us down. And if you mentioned it too, Mike, what is the religion of today? Christianity or whatever is based out of the Vatican, because the Vatican took Christianity and made it what it is today since its conception. Okay. So basically all churches come out of the Catholic religion. So they've kept the truth from us. They've kept all the true writings, all the doctrine and all that kind of stuff. So forever they didn't want anybody even reading the Bible. Okay. Didn't want you to read the Bible, didn't want you to study all the stuff. They wanted to just tell you what to believe. And here's something I was thinking about all day today. Okay. I was thinking about, we had a guest on yesterday, Casey Sunshine. We love Casey. But she made a statement. She made this comment that she said, I don't have time to do all the studying that you do, Susie, when you studied about the different gods and stuff like that. But she said, but what I do is I've put my faith in Jesus Christ and follow him. And all day I thought about that. And I thought to myself, this is where the error is. If you just trust in Jesus Christ, right? Okay. All the different Christian churches that are out there, whether they be Mormon or Jehovah's Witness, Church of Christ, Baptist, Pentecostal, Methodist, Presbyterian, it doesn't matter what denomination it is, or Catholic. Okay. They all preach Jesus. So if you're thinking that just following Jesus and you jump into one of those churches and you're not studying, you're not learning their doctrine, you're not learning what they're teaching, because you're only blindly following Jesus in these buildings, you're going to be deceived. You're going to be led down a road that you're not going to know. You can't just follow Jesus, because guess what? You got all these false prophets and all these false preachers preaching Jesus. And if that was going to save you,
what you need to find is the Holy Spirit in all of that. That's a key.
You have to, there's this one scripture, study to show yourself approved, a workman who need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of God. Okay. That's key right there. You need to study, and you need to divide that word, and you need to find out what's true, what's wrong, what's messed up, because different churches all disagree with each other. Okay, they're not all the same. Even though they name Jesus, they are not the same. This is why you need a personal relationship with Christ, and you got to throw religion out, because the religion is going to create division and fighting and arguing. Okay, because you're going to argue, do I get baptized in Jesus' name, or do I get baptized in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost? oh my God, we're going to kill each other now because you don't do it right, and my church does it right. And then I've heard of people in churches beating each other up in the aisles over stuff like this. Fighting over stuff like that. So the point is, you need to study, and you need to follow. You need to follow truth. Okay, so this is why I say I think you need. Even though I know the King James was, he was a messed up dude. I know that. But guess what? You need to study that Bible. You need to study older Bibles. You need to study older documents. You need to study everything. If you really love God and you really want the truth, then you better spend some time and research this stuff. Just don't go blindly following, anything and everything, okay? Because you're going to get misled. You're going to get taken down the wrong road. That's I'm just saying. You might end up in the Catholic Church. I'm just saying, okay?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you doing your reading and studying in what language?
Well, okay, here's some of the stuff
No, just give me just answer the question, please.
Mike, I
What
do
language
it, and
are you studying?
okay, I look at
the Word
a
of
lot of
God?
stuff. I do look at a lot of stuff, and I know your background, Mike, and I know where you're coming from. Some of the stuff that I did on a show recently was I brought in some rabbis who went in the Hebrew, and they would explain certain scriptures that are in English, and say this is either literal or this is figuratively speaking. So when we read our English Bibles, yeah, we're not going to know a lot of stuff. Okay, we do have to go back to the Hebrew, and we do have to spell check or whatever you want to call it. Okay, we need to go back and do all that.
By the way,
That's part of the studying, huh?
Yeah, I wanted to come into an agreement with you on that. First of all of the prophecies were in the Old Testament from the original 12 tribes of Israel. Quote, the chosen ones, not because of ego, but because that's where the proper language was given, and almost all of the prophets were of that affiliation with the 12 tribes of Israel, the original 12 tribes, not this fake Kharazarian Sephardic Jews that I'm also part of. I come from that group, but I also come from the DNA of the 12 tribes of Israel. I would love to tell you I'm from the tribe of Judah, but I don't have a clue what tribe I'm really from. I just know that the DNA from my relatives come from both North Europe, Russia, where Ukraine is, Khazarian Empire, Germany, all that kind of stuff. But the real, if you
But
will,
Mike, and let's just go back. And Mike, you know that the children of Israel worshipped all the different gods. They worshipped Ashtaroth and Baal and Moloch and Osiris and Yahweh.
No wonder God got disgusted with them and sent them up to Hitler.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that's the point. People don't know when they say God, they don't know which God is God because there's so many gods out there. Okay.
Okay, can I tell? Now, here's our problem. The original language given to us was through Hebrew, I believe. Number one is there's Paleo Hebrew, which look like stick figures, Egyptian hieroglyphic kind of stuff. Then it evolved into ancient Hebrew, and then it evolved, improved to the time of Yeshua and his disciples. That was called modern Aramaic Hebrew. By the way, the word Allah was perfectly acceptable among the Jews or slash the 12 tribes of Israel. They felt that was a good name and could be used. And that's the Sanhedrin, the Sadducees, Pharisees, Democrats, and Republicans, if you will, of the Hebrew world. And then it goes on after Yeshua left with his disciples, modern Aramaic Hebrew. Then it became modern Hebrew, and nobody ever talks about this. This is where Hasatan, or if you will, Luciferian spirit, began to twist even the modern Hebrew, Aramaic Hebrew, into another language of deception. Then the rough part is here now. Now we're depending upon English, and that comes the only disciple that appears to be writing in Greek would be the Dr. Luke. Um, he appears to be
You know what though,
educated.
Mike? You know
Huh?
what? I'm gonna say. You know what? One of the biggest problems is a lot of the books that tell us what we need to know have been kept from us. Okay.
Oh yeah, like the Apocrypha or whatever else.
Well,
Absolutely. But
there's a
let me
book that
finish
I just
going.
recently read, Mike, and it's called The Book of the Wars of Yahweh.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that too. But I want to get
Now,
through this principle. The problem is that now we have the first group of New Testament books were written, in my judgmental and other linguistic experts, in some sort of Hebrew, whether it be modern, ancient, paleo. But the only book of that Luke wrote, that I'm talking about, the King James Bible kind of verbiage that we have, not all the other stuff that's missing, but the New Testament, it had to be written in Hebrew, and with the exception of Luke's writings, which appear to be Greek. Now, here's our problem. Now we start interpreting Hebrew from the Greek language. Oh, my word, that's a mythological language of devil discussion. Then we go
well,
into the next
and
translation.
Mike, you know what? And the Old Testament is nothing but Sumerian. It's a Sumerian text. Um, so listen,
Yeah, but
do you
let
know
me
Mario
continue on with
Baglino?
this. Let
Do you
me
know who
continue on with
Mario?
this train of thought.
Okay,
So
well, hold
now
on a
we get
second.
into Latin. Latin is a great language. I had to learn Latin for science, medicine. Great language for that. But guess who taught in Latin? The Vatican. It's a
Yeah.
witchcraft language. It's a witchcraft language, which, if you will, I mean by that all the witchcraft spells and stuff were cast in Latin, including coming out of the Vatican. Then we move.
Do you know who Mario Baglino is? He worked for the Vatican. He was the translator because he could read Latin, Aramaic, Sumerian,
Yeah,
and
and I just want to go on without specifics. I just want your audience and you to have the skeletal framework which I'm outlining. Then you got to go do all this stuff that'll spend the rest of your life trying to figure out what you know, Susie. I feel what you know. Yeah, that's a whole lifetime of studies you've been going through. But going from Latin, now we go into, when was the letter J created? Do you know?
well, you know what? It's just like in the the Norse language. It's the same as the Hebrew language. Okay,
Okay, hold on. I asked the question.
same
You're not
thing.
answering my question.
That's an
When
English word.
was the letter J created, and who created it? What year was it created?
Well, I don't know the exact year, Mike. Do you?
Okay, I think it was 1524. I think that's
Okay.
around Shakespeare or so. Okay, now
Okay.
what happens is this is from a result of the fake rogue, quote, Christians called the popes of the Vatican Church. They combined their power with the King James, if you will, or the
Got an
Holy
answer for
Roman
you.
Empire of the Holy Roman Empire of paganism. And so the letter J did
1562.
not exist
So
up until about
1562.
1527. And now we're trying to
1562.
interpret a fake Jesus with a fake word called J, Jesus. This whole thing has been so twisted, it's almost impossible to figure out through translations unless you have enough time, or at least spend a little bit of time of trying to learn at least the modern Aramaic Hebrew of Yeshua's time and before. Now that is rather difficult, but there's some excellent teachers that I've come across, like Chuck Mintzler, who's now passed on of Koinonia House. But you can get certain teachers who understand exactly what I'm talking about. So we're all in the dark, to be very honest with you, if we don't
Yep.
understand modern Aramaic, Hebrew, and before.
Right. We cannot trust the English language nor the English translations because we've lost so much. And you know, it's just not it's not going to give us what we need.
However, I do wish to share in this rather depressing, dismal, discouraging statement I've made. The Ruach HaKodesh, which is Raush, the Holy Spirit. Raush is a Ruach HaKodesh in Hebrew, which stands for the Holy Spirit. Some people call it the Holy Ghost. That will quit, even despite the bad translations that I've made reference to. Then I got this problem of my personal interpretation. Despite that, the Raush, that's slang for the Ruach HaKodesh, Holy Spirit. For those who are true seekers of the one and only Hashem, Yeshua, the Jesus, only Hashem knows our hearts, and we will be revealed more and more, despite if we have poor translations, bad misunderstandings, or interpretations. And I would say that despite my great criticism of the King James Bible, I would say there's probably 10%, this is just me swagging it, scientific wild ass guess, is probably 10% is not properly translated. But despite that, the Raush, the Holy Spirit, will help each one of us to see beyond our ignorance. Ignorance does not mean stupidity. Ignorance means we simply don't know what we don't know. I'm done.
Oh, Mike, I have to answer one of our guests one of our guests asked a question. Woo. Woo said the question is this: why do aliens or demons flee in the name of Jesus Christ? Countless reports of this. Okay, here's my answer for that. Because we speak English. So if I was Russian, I would say it differently. If I was Hispanic, I would say it differently. If I was Latin, I'd say it differently. If I was Jewish or Hebrew speaking, I would say his name differently. But I speak English. We're an English speaking people. So to us, our language is Jesus. Okay? So Jesus knows our language. He knows Russian language. He knows Chinese language. So it doesn't matter what language you speak his name. He knows the language. He knows that he's being called. So when you call upon him, he will send his angels, or he will come and he will help you. He will rebuke those demons. And the demons know those languages too. Demons speak many languages. So even though we do have different languages, Jesus knows his name is Jesus in English. Okay, it's pretty simple. It's just simple.
Well, the yappin', rappin', tappin' rabbi that I'm also known as, Ariel, the lion, for the Trash Bag Ministries, I'm an ordained rappin', rappin', tappin' rabbi. You're absolutely correct in what you made reference to. The only God knows our heart, and hence I call it our ignorance of Hebrew, including myself, doesn't mean we're stupid. We just simply do not know what we do not know in Hebrew. But interestingly enough, Hebrew is a powerful language with powerful vibrational frequencies, much like when you saw the Memorex commercial where the guy's sitting in the chair and he's being blasted. And all of a sudden, the fat woman sings, or whatever it is, the vibrational frequency shatters the glass. Remember that?
Yeah,
High
I
pitched
agree. I
frequency.
agree with you on that, Mike. The Hebrew language is extremely educated. It's very
It's
mathematically
got a vibrate.
correct.
It's got a
Yeah.
physical vibration. I'm talking a physical vibration, and I was puzzled by this, knowing that everything's a vibrational frequency. I said, "Why?" And Chuck Mintzler down in Koinonia House in where was that? New Zealand. He said it's a pictorial pictogram digital language of supernatural origin. I agreed with that. Then what happens is I was looking for why and what would the Hebrew language, why would it have this extra special vibrational frequency that Chuck Mintzler and others have made reference to? And I'll be darned if Hashem or the Roush didn't show me some research on they were um, recording and looking at the vibrational frequencies on an oscilloscope. And when certain letters were spoken in Hebrew, I'll be darned if they didn't show up on the oscilloscope as spoken, as of Hebrew. Mind blowing. So there is something very unique to the vibrational frequency. So,
I think
in
so
the
too.
sense, and I think that when we understand that in Hebrew, not only is Hashem sending his angels with the flaming swords to protect us, not only do the Luciferians know the truth, but there's something maybe that even totally blows them to pieces, like the glass that vibrates and shatters with a certain vibrational frequency of high pitched sounds or just singing.
The Hebrew language is really, it starts with the Aleph and the Tav, the A, and there is so much about the Hebrew language that it would, people kind of like researched it and studied it like we're talking about. It would blow people's minds. I mean, what the letters actually mean, and the way that it was put together. Like you said, it's just kind of a supernatural um language. It really is. Yeah.
Oh, that's it. That is the absolute truth, I feel, in my judgmental opinion.
Yeah. Definitely. So we don't speak that language in America, right? Was we speak English, so we're kind of like restricted to the way that we are trying to translate things and tell things. Okay, so yeah, we do the best we can because this is the language we were born with. Some of us were born with.
Right. Now, I'm in the process of trying to, in my entertainment field, uh, fame, film and music entertainment, independent studios, Michael Miracle Zone Productions, etc. Um, the whole purpose of our platform is to teach, preach, redemptive stealth Christianity, if you will, or I prefer messianic teachings of the Messiah, Yeshua. And so it's imperative that we also are trying to structure for people to learn Hebrew in a fairly easy way, or at least begin to identify it. Quite frankly, the Catholic Church destroyed the Hebrew words and teachings. Hence, they created English when we should have all been learning, which was virtually a dead language called Hebrew. Lucifer and his Luciferians almost totally destroyed the supernatural, um, mystical language of Hebrew that was chosen by Hashem to give to us chosen ones. The problem is we have the fake, rogue, Kharazarian, egotistical, quote, Jews who love to say they're the chosen ones. Oh, no, they're not. It's anybody who calls. First of all, God knocks on all of our hearts to try to get us to follow Him. We either choose to go and follow Him or we choose not. So those who have chosen to follow the ways of Yeshua, Hashem, are God's chosen ones who answered the calling, and those become His children, and hence you have an extra hedge of protection. However, may I suggest to all of us, seems to be a formula. I do believe in the Bible code. That's another long story based on Hebrew. But Yeshua says, if you love me, keep my what?
Well, he said there was only 2 commandments: love God and love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the only 2 commandments.
Well, there's a minimum
his
of
commandments.
10, if you will.
Well, I
course, there's
know,
more.
but he did kind of say some things against Moses every now and then. He goes, "It's not like Moses said. It's not like Moses said. It didn't happen like But I will say that Jesus's commandments, because I've studied the Bible very intensively, were just 2 commandments. That's according to Jesus' commandments.
Well, we have extra blessings and directions when we fully understand what those 10 commandments are, each one of them, and then we also put it into practice. There is no reason why you and I can't follow and do every one of the 10, because it says, I can do all things in Yeshua
But Mike,
who strengthens
let me ask you a
me.
question. If you truly love God, okay, are you going to steal from your neighbor? Are you going to lie to your neighbor? No. So,
No.
That's why he said all the commandments hinge on only 2. Love God. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Because if you do those 2 things, you're not going to do anything wrong. You're not going to lie, cheat, steal.
But if you love God,
murder.
part of that commandment, you'll keep my commandments. And what's the 3rd commandment for Catholics, or the 4th commandment for those who are following Yeshua? I guarantee you, most are not following that commandment, nor do they fully understand it.
Brenda, I can't hear you.
Oh, I said.
No, Brenda. Brenda was trying to say something. Brenda was trying to say something, and she's silenced. Look at Brenda. She's still quiet. You're whispering. She said, wait a minute. That's kind of weird. See, Mike, I just think that it needs to be simpler for people. And, it doesn't have to be about all the religious rules and regulations, all it has to be is,
it does. The 10 commandments have got to be followed and understood.
But what I'm saying is, if a person loves God, they're not going to go out there and do something bad to their neighbor. Okay.
But they do all the time. I haven't.
Because they don't love God. I mean, look, they don't love God.
I'm going to tell you, all of these beloved Christians,
okay, they don't love
including
God.
Pat Robertson and others, have all lied to me, and all have broken contracts, all in the name that they're born again Christians.
Yeah. Well, they don't love God, Mike.
The born again Christian story.
And the problem that we have now, you asked that question, I actually answered it, was what was the 4th commandment? And the 4th commandment is honor thy mother and father. And nowadays, no.
Now, the fourth commandment, you must be reading the Catholic Bible.
Oh, maybe. No, I'm not reading Catholic Bible. I've seen it in a different one. I've got several different Bibles.
Well, okay.
Well, sometimes mother and father are wicked and evil and, satanic.
Well, anyway, the one I'm talking about is direct reference to Sabbath.
Oh, keep the Sabbath. Well, yeah, but here, Jesus got in trouble for like, eating on the Sabbath, and they're like, he doesn't keep the Sabbath, and so what I'm saying is those are all religious
Hold on.
rules.
That's
Yeah.
because you don't understand. He never
Oh,
did
I
away with the
understand.
Ten Commandments. He simply was the Lord of the Ten Commandments. And what he said was, I bring and I am telling you what you can and cannot do on the Sabbath. So he came against the traditions of men or the traditions of the twisted words of the rabbis. And you guys don't understand. There's a Talmud, there's a Tanakh, the
The
Mishnah. You
Torah.
don't
Yeah.
understand that
Yeah.
period of time.
I understand. I do understand that.
Okay,
I'm
that's all I'm saying. You don't have enough knowledge of that time. And so, therefore, today's people, I feel, do not know what Yeshua was teaching because they don't even know what the traditions of men are, which they were referring to, the rabbis of the old days. And Yeshua made it very clear on the fourth that you were to rest, not put your maid servants, manservants, animals to work. You were
like us.
totally to be, it was total fellowship. And if you followed what he taught,
Mike, I
you got a
disagree
double.
with you. I disagree
Hold
with
on,
you
let
because
me finish. I can't finish. What
there's
if you
the
followed what
Jews
he taught? If
followed
you
and what
followed
Jesus
what he
followed.
taught, if you followed what he said, you would get a double portion. Then what he
Yeah,
said is, it's okay for my
not
disciples to
necessarily.
pick food to eat. It's okay for you not to make money or do business transactions, but go out and help your neighbor who has his cow or literally his ass in the ditch and save him. But don't
Well,
make money and don't go out to work. Now come back and do fellowship, celebrating my word, because on the seventh day, the Sabbath is a day of rest and double portions. And that's what the uh, tribes out there in with Moses 40 years in the desert got a double portion of manna, if you will, I think, or whatever that is.
well, Mike, here's the problem. Jesus said many times, "Do not." It is not like Moses said. Don't do like Moses said. And so Moses is not who we follow. Okay, we follow Jesus. Jesus,
Jesus said,
he didn't
if
follow
you
the
love me,
Jews'
keep my
traditions. Yeah,
commandments. If you love me, keep my commandments. Well, if you love
he
me,
didn't
keep
say
my
Moses'
commandments. And
commandments.
it's
Yeah,
his definition of what the 10 commandments are, including the fourth, or if you're a
he
Catholic,
said
the
there was
third.
only. But we already established this. Jesus had only 2 commandments. Moses had 10.
No, he
Jesus
had
had
10.
2.
He had 10. And the conclusion is it represents two issues, but he had 10, and under that 10 is our entire law system, and each one of those commandments have an incredible number of requirements to this day in the laws, state laws, federal laws. Florida, I like. They have a much smaller system of about 10 foot of books. California has a full library based on these 10 commandments. And if you follow them, the summation is you love Yeshua and you're doing it right. But I guarantee you, 90% of you are full of sin and off structure. And despite your good intentions, you're not receiving the full blessings.
Well,
Oh,
like I said, like I said again, and I'll say it again, is there's only 2 commandments according to Jesus. Two. So,
well, either way, there is no way as being human and growing up that we are without sin. Everybody is. That's why you repent and you ask for forgiveness every time you pray, not just once, every time you pray. Because every day when you wake up, there's something that you do that is considered a sin. And that's because it's the way we're raised. It happens. So, regardless of how much you love Jesus and how much you love the Father, you go in life and you do look every day. See this thing. got me off of cigarettes, but it's still a mortal sin because I'm putting something in my temple that doesn't belong there. So I'm
I don't
trying to
know. They've proven medically that nicotine does fight certain,
yeah.
So because
By the way,
ivermectin
I
is
am
made
greatly,
from
yeah,
tobacco.
I'm not opposed to that, but I'm greatly concerned about your vaping. It causes popcorn lung. I'm coming from my medical background.
I had that happen when I did this once before. I had quit smoking, started vaping, and I developed this real wet cough. And I went into the doctor, and he told me, put the vape down, go back to smoking because you're causing water pockets in your lungs. Well, now that it's been around as long as it has, they've perfected it a little better. And
They've
now I go in
corrected
to see
that.
my
Yeah.
doctor. I breathe better than I have before, and my lungs are clear now that I have been off of cigarettes for 6, 7 months now. And
Are you talking about your vape, or
I'm
you're talking
talking
about the
about me
cigarettes?
being I'm talking about me being on the vape. When I was
Yeah.
smoking cigarettes, my
They
lungs were always
perfected
full
it.
of crap.
So
And
yeah.
so
Susie,
now
I can't hear.
you can't hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. She was over
Oh,
talking to you.
okay. When I was smoking, my lungs were always full of a bunch of crap. Okay. So, and I had a smoker's cough, the whole 9 yards. Well, I stopped smoking cigarettes 7 months ago and went to the disposable vapes. And now my lungs are clear. My doctor's impressed. I was on my way on a verge of COPD before I started smoking these vapes and put those cigarettes down.
Well,
And
your
now,
doctors were idiot. Your doctors, I agree with you, were idiots for telling you to go back to smoke cigarettes.
well,
Totally
yeah,
idiotic.
that was a long time ago. But it was because if I was going to
Okay,
smoke
now
something, if I was going
my
to smoke
best.
something, they didn't want me smoking the vapes because of my lungs.
Right
But
now, what my
now,
the best. I don't want
now
to
they're
overtalk you.
better.
I'm sorry.
Now they're
Okay,
better.
now what I suggest you do: get rid of the vapes and go to gum and get your nicotine from gum. Don't
Can't
you
have it.
dare go.
Can't have
Huh?
it. I can't do the
Why?
patches and I can't do the gum because there's something in both of those that cause a reaction in my body and I have an allergic reaction to them. The patches cause me red whelps and swells my arm. And the gum, now, I don't know what's in that, but for some reason, when I chew that gum, my gums and my tongue swell. So,
Dang.
Well, I'm glad you told me this because now I'm interested in developing a gum, and because I don't care for any of that kind of stuff, I'm ignorant on that. But now you really piqued my interest. Um, the only good way to take in nicotine is, in my opinion, is to vaporize it, which is called vape. Oh, not vaporizing. Nebulizing it. Do you know about nebulizers?
yes,
I encourage all the marijuana smokers, get rid of your cigarettes and nebulize it so you don't get any damage from the smoke and the carbon. It's healthier. It's just basically water vapor in that particular product. So nebulizing it would be good. And Susie, you had mentioned the benefits of nicotine. I absolutely agree. There is. Medically, I'm aware of that concept. Uh, So now you got my curiosity. How can we get rid of the vapes and get the nicotine that you need, or slash that person needs for whatever, calming their nerves, anxiety, etc.
now here's the problem. There's chemicals in cigarettes, there's chemicals in vapes. Okay. What is really, really bad for us in cigarettes is not the nicotine, it's
I'll
the
tell you what
tar.
it is, Brenda.
It
You
is
know
the
what it is?
tar.
No,
What?
I'm gonna make a joke, okay? But it's serious though, okay? But I'm gonna be funny. Okay, it's gonna come across funny. But in the filters of cigarettes, they
Yep.
put pig's blood in all filters. Look it up, everybody. If you
Yes.
don't believe me, Google it, whatever. Pig's blood in your filters. And I think that's because Jewish people are forbidden to have pork or pig. So
Yeah, it's not a kosher. It's not a kosher
it's
meat.
very
Yeah,
not kosher. Okay, it's not kosher to smoke out of a filter. Okay.
huh, that's a
Anyway,
new one for me.
I think it's kind
Are
of
you joking
disgusting.
or are you
You're sucking
serious?
in pig's blood. Yeah,
Are you
serious.
serious or joking?
There's pig's blood in cigarette filters.
Are you joking or are you kidding? I mean, are you serious?
Serious, serious, serious.
I believe you're serious.
Yes.
Thank you.
Google it. Google it. Is there pig's blood in filters of cigarettes? And they will tell you yes. You can look
Well,
it
the
up on Google.
Muslim that would chase the Muslims away from smoking
They
it as
won't.
well as Jews.
They don't smoke with filters. Okay.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
When I first started smoking, because back in the day when I started smoking, the best cigarettes you could buy were Lucky Strikes, and they had no filters, and Camel, non-filtered, and that's what I smoked when I first started smoking. And now I have the vape, and my vape is only 3% nicotine. I started with 12% nicotine. So I'm going down to get off of that nicotine. Eventually, I can have a vape that has no nicotine until I can put it down altogether. But my lungs have improved over the last 7 months to the point where it knocked me out of the COPD. I don't have any problems anymore when I'm sleeping. I don't stop breathing in my sleep. And,
You see that? That's on Google. It says about the pig's blood in the cigarette filters, and they do not have to disclose that, it says.
Right.
The tobacco industry is not required to tell you what they're putting in the filters. Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating. Thank you for that bit of information.
Well, I mean, I remember that. She told me that a long time ago, and I remember that.
Yeah.
Sitting over here looking, I have to make my dinner when we're done with this. So at 11 o'clock, I would have been on for 3 hours. So at 11 o'clock, we're calling it. Because
I love you, Mike. I love you, Mike. And I love you, Brenda. And so, I'm just passionate about the truths that I've researched and studied, and I love Jesus, and I know that the Old Testament is a little botched up because of all the different gods, and I know the English language is botched up, and so we do our best, and we try to find the truth, and it's not easy.
By the way, I appreciate both of your passions. You guys are passionate. It doesn't matter whether I agree with you or disagree. I get sincere passion, and you're speaking the truth that you know, as I speak only the truth I know. But again, I always have to remember I know a little bit about a lot, but quite frankly, I don't even know when I'm ignorant, because ignorance means I simply do not know what I do not know.
Right. I hear you. We all have that. Yeah. Yep.
Yes. In
Yes.
agreement.
Yes. And everybody learns different, and some people I have sat with the Book of Enoch, the Ethiopian Bible, and the Geneva Bible, and a regular study Bible. And I've gone through each one in certain parts, and you can definitely tell the difference in all the Bibles. Some of them will say some of the same thing in certain verses, but the other ones will tell you different. So I do that to try to spread it out and decipher it and try to find the truth within all of these, because it's got to be there. God put it in there somewhere. It's up to us to find it. And that's what I've been doing. And I have been learning a few things, and I've been dumbfounded about a few things. But everybody's going to try to do what they can do to be closer to the Father, be closer to Jesus. And not everybody's going to be quite on the same page all the time, but it's all going to mean relatively in one the same thing. It's just some people say it different than others. And it may sound like we don't all agree on everything, but in all actuality, we do. Because it's the way that we study it.
All right. So Jeremiah 3:33 says, "Call to me, and I will answer you, and I will tell you great and hidden things that you have not known."
Awesome statement of truth. Even with the English translation, I feel that's correct.
Right. We can all agree on that one. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yes, it is.
All right, guys. So, Mike, we know where not to find you. And we hope that...
What is this fellow or person that says, yes, I'll miss something...
That's Steve.
Productions.
That's Steve. That's our friend Steve.
Oh, he's the one that dropped off?
No. That was Mark.
Okay, who's Steve? I'm not sure who Steve is.
I don't think you've been on here with him. Steve is a friend of ours. He was doing interviews for Tom Althouse.
Tom Althouse.
Who claims that he originally wrote The Matrix, but it was called The Immortals.
Anybody in chance is he in the Los Angeles, Beverly Hills area?
Mike, Steve? You did the show on with us when Althouse was on, and Althouse got really mad and blew up about what was it?
No, that was Jim, when Jim was on talking about his murder.
Was that when somebody blew up on my affiliation with Mel Gibson?
Yeah, Mel Gibson. Yes.
When you said Mel Gibson, Althouse stressed out and went into another zone somewhere.
Oh my God, he assassinated my friend.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
But
basically, yeah.
But I was interested to see his passion in that. It helped me. It helps me to look at and see just who is Mel Gibson. I'm not what I would call a inner circle personal friend, but I'm definitely on the outer circle looking at the group, and I have to be careful. And so anyway, I'm looking for any signs that he mentioned that maybe they were just true to him, maybe they had a business disagreement. I'm accused of doing all kinds of things, and my perspective and what I'm doing is entirely different than the rumors that I'm about me. I was mentored by I was mentored by one of the best in Hollywood. His name was John Daly, Hemdale Films. He had 15 Academy Awards, unbelievable number of Grammys, and 25 nominations. Anyway, I hired him when nobody would hire him in the year 2000, 2003. And I said, well, John, they ran you out of here. You're a scoundrel. I don't want anything to be a scoundrel like you, but I do have a tremendous respect for your ability to put together films and make superstars and all that kind of stuff. So I'll hire you only if you match dollar for dollar my investment pool, and you're not going to be a CEO. I'm just going to hire you as a president of new creative development, because John, and now when I said Vanity or Fair or whatever it was, one of the magazines, they said, well, if John Daly has found murder, there's going to be 1,000 suspects. Well, let me tell you, now there's 1,001.
1001.
I'm one of the additional ones on that list, but I do greatly appreciate John's excellent mentorship and the people that he introduced me to: Schwarzenegger, Martin Landau, well,
Oh
Al
God.
Pacino, Sean Penn, goes on and on and on. The guys that he made superstars, and but he outfoxed me, and he did become the scoundrel that he was rumored to be. So I was like,
And so did
I was
most of the
like,
people he
I
introduced
was
you.
like Steve Jobs, who hired the Pepsi Cola man. What was his name? John Scully. And the next thing you know, John Scully and the board, or Scully or whatever his name was, voted Steve Jobs out of his company, locked him out of his office, and now he's no longer but a stockholder. The same thing happened with me because of John Daly. Anyway, um, on John Daly's deathbed, after he cheated all of us investors out of, basically, he destroyed $100 million company called Fame Film and Music Entertainment. We were on the pink slips, whatever it is, stock exchange, pink sheets. Anyway, so I got really discouraged and said, uh, I need to have a conversation with this guy before he dies. And he was in Cedars-Sinai Hospital, dying of cancer, it was reported. So and they
Huh.
wouldn't let me, let me in there because of my being off the visitation list. So I put a doctor's coat on, a stethoscope, and
You did?
an yeah, an ID. This was at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Beverly Hills.
What?
And then my attorney was a crazy old coot, but he was intelligent. Charles Crozier one time ran for Congress and was Nixon when Nixon kicked the elevator and said, "You won't see Nixon around anymore." So anyway, I said, Charles, let's go. You're going to be the attorney. I'm going to dress like this. He says, "You're crazy." I said, "I know, but let's go. I want to go see John." So the guards at the front there, man, I'd be scared to death to have them. They just let me pass by. They checked Charles in his briefcase to make sure he's an attorney and had nothing in his briefcase other than legal papers, which he had. I walked in there, and John's not at first recognizing me because of the doctor's coat and stethoscope. All of a sudden, he realized it was me. Oh my God, I thought he was going to die of a heart attack right then and there. I said, "John, calm down. I'm not here to kill you. I'm here to settle some business with you. You know, the Russians may have shot you already with a cancer gun. So, the guys that you screwed up in Russia may be behind your cancer. But I'm here to settle a problem." The problem is, John, you don't have long to live, and you better make things right with myself. Um, and my family and my immediate investors. I need you to sign a bunch of paperwork and reestablish and give back all your stock to myself and my stockholders so I can take charge of the company again and start trying to save the investor stock. And he said, "Oh, I'll do that. I'll do that." So I said, "Okay, John." It was too
Wow.
complicated to get him to do it that night. So he agreed to do that. I told him, I said, "You don't have long to live, John.
That's a funny story.
You're either going to heaven or you're going to hell based upon what you did to me. Bless a Jew and you'll be blessed, and curse this Jew and you'll be cursed."
So,
Well,
Yeah.
oh, go
huh?
ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, he died um, he just died right after I left. And in walking at the same time was his daughter, who did not recognize me. She just thought I was a doctor, with an attorney. And well, let me tell you, thereafter, I got calls from the police department wanting me to come down to the office to talk about Mr. Daly. Well,
Oh
I
my God.
disappeared, and I've been gone ever since regarding that. John died.
You gave up
John
your
died on
doctorate.
Yeah, he died on October 31st,
You are a
Halloween night.
character, Mike.
Oh, 2008. He died on Halloween night, 2008.
Now, one of the people watching wants to know if you ever met Richard Grieco.
He's laughing.
He laughs.
He laughs.
Yeah, I'm kind of a character like, what's his name? Jim Carrey, Steve Martin, and the Godfather kind of character. You know, Al
What a
Pacino.
combination. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
So did you ever meet this Richard what?
Richard Grieco. Grieco.
I don't recall the name.
Okay. I don't know the name either. Do you know who it is, Brenda?
I do. I just don't know what all he's been involved in because I never really paid attention, and I
He
stopped.
played on 21 Jump Street. So he says.
Yeah. I never really watched. I think I watched the first episode of that. Never really watched it again. And then shortly after that, I just stopped watching shows and movies and whatnot. That's all right. But anyways, well, Mike, I thank you for coming on. And
Yes.
yeah, it's always good to see you that you're still okay.
I know, Mike, because you're
I
down there.
I lost all my teeth. They got knocked out from when I told you about the accident. But then when I was up there with all that excitement, I fell over and knocked more teeth out. So now I need teeth. My $1 million
Mike!
smile's gone. Now I got to
Oh,
spend
Mike.
$1 million to get them back, and I don't have $1 million.
Oh.
You know what that's like to have your teeth knocked out. Trust me, I know.
Well, thank you for inviting me to join you guys. Sorry if I overtalked you or hurt your feelings or insulted you, but that's
no.
what happens when
Not
you're
at all.
dealing with the.
We
That's
love
what you're dealing with, the Wolverine of Beverly Hills. Shalom, y'all.
you.
Yeah,
we love you, Mike. We love
Our
you.
motto is no matter what, we never how do I want to say that? We never put judgment on anybody that comes on our show. It's just if anything happens, then we just don't have them come back. We have a couple of people we've had to do that to, but you're not one, so you're okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to come back.
But all right, everybody.
Thank you for the golden seal of approval.
No problem. I'll be like Trump. I'm out there looking for that gold. Where to go?
I love your passion for Jesus, Mike. Yeah.
Say that again, please.
I love your passion for Jesus. Yeah.
Oh, Yeshua.
Yes, Yeshua Jesus. Yeshua.
That's okay. I love what he said. I think he said, at least I think this is an accurate translation out of the New Testament. There's not Greek. There's not. Oh, I call them
There's
Greek.
not Jew. There's neither
no
male
Jews,
nor female. Yeah.
Yeah. There's only one in me, and that means one in the Mashiach. That's Yeshua the Mashiach, the Jesus the Messiah, if you will. That's what he basically says. And so everything is not for Jews. It's not for Muslims. It's not for born-again Christians or Catholics.
Or
it's
males
for
or
everyone.
female. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's for everyone who acknowledges and is a messianic follower or a Messiah follower. And so I really feel that's his proper or the religious proper name is the Messiah following folks. Our doctrine is different than all the other doctrines, but yet it's very similar. It has to be according to the doctrine of Yeshua, if you will.
Yes, he does say that. He says that we are all equal in his eyes. Everybody's on an equal field. Yeah.
So there is no Christian. There is no Catholic. There is no Muslim.
Yeah.
There's only one, us and Yeshua, or if you will, the Messiah.
Well said. Well said.
So all lives matter. All life matters. And that's what I got to say about that.
That's right.
All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up. We're wrapping it up. Good night, Woo.
Wow.
And
Nighty night night, y'all.
yes, and I am
Good
still
night, Mike.
looking to do more shows during the week. So, Sherry and I
Thank
have to
you.
work on. Thanks, Mike. Sherry and I
Bye.
have to work on. Bye bye. Sherry and I have to work on getting her stuff set up so that she can come on. So, I'm gonna work on that. Get that done. No, Woo. I meant. I meant. Oh, I already have that. I meant Steve has the link for backstage. Actually, the link is already in the thing. So, but we're going to go ahead and call it a night. And I have to make me some dinner, man. I'm hungry.
Oh.
Hungry. Woo, come cook for me. So, and I'm
Somebody
tired.
order me a pizza or something.
Oh, what time is it? Oh, nope, too late. You have to have your order in by 11 o'clock because they close at midnight.
And it's 11:01. Yeah.
I know.
Oh man.
Doggone it.
Oh.
I should have did that before the show. Then I would have had it sitting back waiting for me
There you
when I
go.
got done. And I only get the garlic Parmesan sauce with cheese and mushrooms and onions and spinach, and it is phenomenal.
You know what I get? I get from Domino's the Pacific Veggie. Have you ever had that one?
No.
Because you know what they put on it? They put feta cheese and everything on top. Spinach on it and everything.
Yeah, they put
It
that
is,
on.
and they have like garlic
What
salt
are
on.
you doing? Get off me.
They put like a garlic salt on it too, so it has like a garlic flavor. It's called Pacific Veggie. Oh my God, it is so good. Has the
Sounds
garlic flavor and it has the feta cheese in there on top of it. And we get it. Sometimes we get it with double cheese and it comes with the feta, but double cheese. Oh my God, it comes with the spinach and everything.
Look at this thing's crawling around looking to try to knock something down. Hey, get off of there. What are you getting into? Get down. Look, the dog's all pissed off. My animals have been going crazy for the last couple of days. There's something wrong with them. I think they all need a pet psychiatrist.
I know what it is. They've been cooped up inside because it's so cold out there, and they want to go out yard and right.
Well, she doesn't ever go out. She's scared to death of the outside. She won't even.
But your dog likes to go outside.
My dog likes to go out there and act crazy and bark at the neighbors. That's what he likes to do.
And chase snakes.
Tucker goes outside
and chase snakes.
The morning that it snowed, Tucker went out there. Well, I had the door open and Putin was like at the door, and then he was like, nope. And he backed up. And Tucker went out there and stood there for a minute like, what is this? So it was pretty funny. I was like, man.
Woo says cereal out of the box for me tonight. Hey, better watch that cereal, man. They put a lot of heavy metals in that stuff, boy. I'm telling you.
Careful.
Yeah, them cereals.
Whew. My dogs are like, boil me some freaking chicken. Get out of there, boiled chicken. They're so spoiled. My dogs eat better than I do. They eat boiled chicken, sweet potato, pumpkin, and anything they want, really. Yeah. And they like mama cooking. Oh. She gonna sit up there. I don't know what she's doing. Last night I woke up in the middle of the night to things knocking down, and then the other day the same thing. All my makeup mirror and everything was on the floor. And I happened to jump up out of bed and look, and she's running away. I'm like, uh-huh. What were you into? Blueberry Crunch. Blueberry Crunch. Organic cereal, Blueberry Crunch. Never heard of that one. I know the other day I went through the store and I see the blueberry, Frankenberry and all that stuff. And I'm like, God, when I was a kid, I used to eat that stuff. And I look at it now and go, wonder what that's made with. Wonder what's in that.
Brenda, I did this experiment because I know Joel was eating cereal. I took the cereal and I put some milk in it and I mushed it to where it was mush. I put it in a Ziploc. I put 1 cup of cereal with some milk, and I ziplocked the Ziploc bag. I took a magnet, and all these metals came up out of the cereal, and they stuck to the magnet. And I mean, yeah, there is a lot of aluminum and stuff like that that they put in the cereals. And I think that's because the Wi-Fi or the G5, whatever, it will radiate you if you have a lot of heavy metals inside of you. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, hopefully one day soon that will all stop, and we'll be able to eat again. And they'll stop spraying our fruits and vegetables, and they'll stop all that.
Trying to harm us. Yeah, yeah, you just never know anymore. I mean, yeah, you do. Like I said, I did my own experiment on it and found it was crazy, man. I did a video on it too. I'll have to send you that video.
Yeah.
I videoed it. It was a lot of metal came out of it.
Yeah, I stopped eating the same thing. I found stuff inside. You know those Quaker packages with the
Quaker
oatmeal?
Oats?
And it's got the strawberry and blueberry and all that. So I used to have those because, quick breakfast. And one day I made it and I'm looking at it and it didn't look right. And then
Really?
there was little crunchy things in there that shouldn't have been there. And I was like, oh, nope, no more. So I don't eat those anymore.
Huh.
Yeah. I had to resort to. Now I'm going to tell you what. I did find at the store Blueberry Thomas's English muffins. And I made some the other day and oh, were they good. I was like, oh, I found something new. I'm going to continue to buy. So don't anybody tell me any shit about that. I don't even want to know. I'm getting tired of starving at breakfast time. And it's like, what I don't understand. Now here's a concept I'm going to bring up. So somebody tell me about this. So our eggs are depleting because of bird flu. But yet you go into the department where all the chicken is and it's full. What the hell? Really?
What the hell? What the hell?
That's right. What the hell?
What the hell?
Just like, wow. How stupid do they think we really are? Well, apparently there's a lot of people out there that are absolutely stupid to that because they don't think. If they're going to get rid of the eggs.
There's still people eating at McDonald's knowing that it has,
McDonald's in so many years.
In it, and yeah, and people, all they got to do is watch that Rabbi Finkelstein's interview, and he laughs at white people for.
I had a friend.
It's not just white people. I mean, all peoples eat at McDonald's.
I had a friend that used to go to the plants that do the meat for Taco Bell. And he comes to me one day and we're sitting there talking. He goes, oh, man. I said, I think I want to go get some Taco Bell. He says, nope, Mickey meat. And I said, what? Well, when they make the meat, they pre-make the meat for Taco Bell. And it comes down a big conveyor belt and goes into the bags to get sealed, to get shipped out to the stores. He said he went in there and he's watching hundreds of mice run down there on the conveyor belt and get the meat and run away with it. And I'm like, but mice pee and poop every time they stop moving. He's like, uh-huh. I'm like, oh my God. So I quit eating Taco Bell. Then when I experienced the crap that I experienced with McDonald's and finding teeth in patties and different stuff like that, no more McDonald's. Then Burger King. Burger King pissed me off. They had the
fast food restaurants. They need to be like, yeah, no.
but I don't eat at Taco Bell, McDonald's,
I don't eat at
Burger
any of those
King.
places.
Every now and then, like we have a place out here called Taco Casa, and they have the best bean burritos ever. And they're new. I'll eat there. I'll order Domino's, even though I know their dough is probably screwed up. What are you doing?
And me, I do not participate in killing of pets and animals. So, yeah.
You ain't
Do
owned
not
this
do that.
damn thing yet. This thing right here, this vicious little turd who likes
do not put them on my dinner plate. I do not put them on my plate. Yeah.
Do not attack me. I'll call Jack. He'll come in here and get you. Watch her. She's done it before. I've been here sitting here online, and she will straight up attack me. She's wicked. And she's staring at me. Oh my God! Susie left. Anybody want a kitty? TT. Well, I guess that I'm going to go ahead and call it because, well, you know, everybody else fell off. Susie probably let her phone die. She forgot to charge it. But anyways, guys. Oh, wait a minute. Here she is. What happened?
It's just there. It just keeps dropping.
Oh, I thought the phone died. I was not going to laugh at you. She forgot to charge your phone.
It's been doing that. It's been dropping in and out. You know, once it'll freeze, and then I'll lose you.
Why
So
are
it's
you
like,
staring at me? You're giving me the creeps. What? Oh, God. She's going to attack me. I know she is. Her eyes are completely black right now.
okay.
She needs to
Nice
put her
kitty.
evil away. That's what she needs to do. I'll call Jack and say, get a teaspoon of tuna for the cat, and she'll like straighten out and run right over there to go get her tuna.
I think she's possessed by something bad.
She is something. This cat is something else. I am telling you, she is something. But all right, we love you too, Norma. I'm gonna get out of here because Steve has a premiere show going on at midnight. So I'm gonna try to go over there. If Steve's gonna be in the chat, he'll probably Steve pop in here and we can go over there and do that. And then I think I'm gonna do my uploads tomorrow because I don't feel like dealing with it tonight. I'm just saying. I'm tired today. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten and I'm tired.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh God.
You need to eat.
Yeah.
You need to quit going a long time.
I need to spit my teeth out. My jaw's hurting for some reason. It's been bothering me all night. I'm like, ah.
That's not good.
I will not come on camera. I won't leave the house. I will not come on camera. I do not like not having my teeth in. It's terrible.
So we had a guest on there earlier that was being weird, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I like because Norma or Denise and them got rid of them the first time they came in. And then they liked it. But see, when I set the shows up, I did it on both. For some reason, I have two YouTubes. I have one under Beyond the Box and one under my name. And that person will come in on the one under my name and I can still see the chat here. So I go looking and I can't find them because they're hidden. So I'm going to have to fix that. I'm going to have to stop sharing on both YouTubes and just use the Beyond the Box one. I don't know why it's like that. That might be what messes me up in Discord also. So I don't know.
Yeah, because that person was attacking you all left and right. Phew.
Yeah. It's, like I said, if you don't like what we're talking about or you don't understand it because you're that damn stupid, you can leave. Go. Bye-bye. I just get so fed up with it. Steve found it last time. He managed to get on the other YouTube and blocked on that YouTube. But they keep coming back with different names. Apparently they just make all kinds of YouTubes. I wonder if I can do that. Make 50 YouTubes. What good does it do? I
Well,
mean, I don't. I
because
barely
you're not
know
that kind of
what
person. That kind of person does that because
Mhm.
they're that kind of person. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's disturbing, though. Really, really,
It's
it's
ridiculous. Yeah.
it's it's it is ridiculous. Woo! You didn't like Whataburger? What the heck did you eat? Whataburger's awesome. Yes, they are. They have good breakfast.
Disgusting.
Eggs and biscuits and gravy. And yeah, they make a honey
I don't
butter
know.
biscuit.
After hearing Finkelstein talk about selling, body parts to all fast food restaurants, McDonald's number one. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, Jason, I have like 6 emails, but they were set up for different things, and I forgot the passwords to them because stupid me, I never use the same password that I would know, but they say it's good to do that. But yet I forget them.
Yeah,
So
Brenda,
I've
you
got
got to
like
stop taking food from strangers.
taking food from strangers. The hell are you talking about? Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't think that person was a stranger at that time.
Stranger Things. Yeah.
Stranger Things. You had to dig that in there, didn't you? Good job there, Susie. Just dig it in. Just dig it in. Doggone it. All right, everybody. We gotta go. We gotta go. All right. Bitch tried to kill me. Anyway.
And failed miserably. Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. I had somebody on my side. Probably
That's
quite a
right.
few, but
That's right. Yeah.
worked out great. Yes. All right, everybody. Y'all have a good night. Have a good rest
Yeah,
of the week.
everybody.
Have a good week. Y'all be careful. Woo, quit breaking legs. That's not a good thing to do. And everybody, please like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you next weekend, if not anytime sooner. So y'all have a good night. And please, like always, be kind to one another. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Goodbye for now, from Beyond the Box.
Please join us again for Beyond the Box, Friday and Saturday evenings, from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern. Join us for more intel bombs from our extraordinary guests.
Good night, Putin. Good night, Tucker.